Welcome to Chengdu, China, home of the giant pandas, 14 million people, and now the 2018 UCI Urban Cycling World Championships, where we have competitions going on in 3 bicycle disciplines: trials, mountain bike eliminator, and BMX freestyle park. To find out who will be UCI World Champion and win the coveted UCI Rainbow Jersey. My name is Daryl Now, lifetime BMX rider from Brooklyn, New York, and I am joined in the booth by expert on all things trials and mountain bike eliminator expert Dylan Victor. Dylan, welcome to Chengdu.
Daryl, thank you so much. Absolutely awesome to be here in Chengdu. Competitions have been great. The racing has been so hot and just so amazing to watch, and really has been an amazing weekend.
I'm Caroline Buchanan, and welcome to the 2018 Urban Cycling World Championships in Chengdu, China.
All right, so here in the city, there's been so much going on here in the park. We've had a cross-country eliminator course, we've had trials, and obviously the BMX freestyle park, and everything happening right here in the middle of the city. And in just a second, we're actually going to just go over all the competitions that happened here over the weekend. Daryl, what's it like being here?
It's been awesome. As we take a look on the screen right now, you can see a little bit of the culture and the lifestyle which the Chengdu people have welcomed us with open arms, as we have professionals from around the world taking in and getting ready to compete at our UCI Urban Cycling World Championships.
Disciplines, whether it's small wheels, big wheels, mountain biking, we all share that passion of 2 wheels, and it's you know, that journey that we're on together.
I was really looking forward to the event because the World Championships are the most important competition of the year.
It is really nice to meet other riders from different aspects of cycling, to see what they are doing. BMX riders do stunts, and the trial jumps really high, and it's really impressive to watch other riders.
I love it, mixing it together, bringing it for, you know, the greater good of cycling, and whatever wheel size it is, everyone's putting on a show here this week.
All right, so going into cross-country eliminator, essentially the format of the sport is around a 1 kilometer course where the riders have to race 4 people at a time, and obviously the first, second, third and fourth rider will go through to the next round. And what we're about to see here is the final of the women, and our Norwegian that was Anna Rungve was the top qualifier, but having not a great start. And this course is really, really tough. Lots of sharp hills and needing so much explosion. You can see the speed there that they're going around the course, just flat out. And what is actually amazing about this, the course winding its way through the BMX park, past the trials, really just so exciting. And the French lady, that's Colline Clozier she just dominated from start to finish. Great start, really a small lady, and she just put the power down from start to finish, as you can see there through the rock garden, getting a little bit of a gap, and really was able to maintain that and just keep the power down all the way to the end there. You could see almost a sprint finish, but she just had it, and not needing to go for the sprint. So what a ride there for the French. That was Colline Clozier taking it. Second place was Irna Popova, and third Marion Fromberg. So that was France, Ukraine and Germany there in the cross-country eliminator. So what a race it was. And as you can see, Colline on the podium, very proud to put on those rainbow jerseys, and you know, well done to them.
Well, Dylan, I got to ask you, as being an expert and also a lifetime rider yourself, this course is so cool how we're in the urban environment and also mix a little bit of nature. Is that a normal thing that we see in the eliminators?
It really is, and it's hard to bring it in, and the course builder's done an excellent job yet, you know, combining a bit of everything. And yeah, he's actually South African, the course builder, so
that's fantastic. I love seeing the different environments come together in the city, where all our fans of Chengdu can cheer on our riders out here and see who's going to come out on top.
All right, so start of the men's race. We had 3 Frenchmen in the final, and that was Lorenzo Serres, Hugo Brita, and Titouan Perengania. And it was an all-French battle. The French are really just putting down the hammer. I don't know if there was too much tactics, because in a race like this, there's just so much power, and I don't know if there's time to be too tactical, but the guys really did just put on there. But the Dutchman, Jeroen van Eck, also taking it down, making sure that it wasn't an all-French final. He put on a great battle, and coming through the rock garden.
You mentioned the fact that it's a lot of power out there. How important is the start?
The start is very important. It's difficult to overtake, so the guys really, to get a good start is important. If you're in 4th place off the start, very unlikely you're going to get to 1st, but you know, it is possible to overtake, but it's really hard, so the really guys got to go hard.
So would the key parts to try to pass maybe be on some of these obstacles that maybe you have a little bit more of a skill than the other rider on?
Definitely, definitely.
Ooh.
So, a fall over the finish line. That was a puncture on the line, and that was Hugo Britta that was actually in the lead and made a small error coming down the line, clipped the railing, got a puncture on the front, and then lost it to Titouan Perrin-Gagnier, who was our defending champion from last year. But yeah, the overtaking is really, they make overtaking zones like through the rocks, but it's key to really get close on the rider in front of you, so you can kind of squeeze past or maybe even like edge him out and bully him. And
so your advantage would be on this, if you're in front, you don't almost have to battle the traffic, and if you're in 4th, you've got to work through. Whereas traditional racing, you could almost draft the person in front, but since it's a smaller course with the elements in the turns, it's a big advantage to be in that first place.
Oh, it's a huge advantage. And also you can control the pace a little bit, because you know, going into corners, you can like accelerate out, and the guys have to sprint to catch you. You know, you can kind of slow down in, and you can run a smoother line through the corner. And
maybe even use a little strategy of pulling your brakes to wind up slowing them down when you're going to explode your speed.
Definitely, definitely. Going into the trial, we see Manon Basseville in the ladies' race, and she had an absolutely amazing race. You could see her going over the Panda Rocks, now into the waterfall. She rode very strategically through this event and kept control, didn't make a lot of mistakes. As you can see there, very technical, the course that they built here, a lot of rocks, and yeah, it wasn't easy getting through there. It was what was difficult is no matter where you put your wheel, there wasn't a good place to put it. It was always a gap or a hole or something like that.
And on top of that, you also have the water as well, which could definitely provide some type of less traction, rather, right, on the surface.
Yeah. So in fact, a lot of the riders actually had 2 bikes, and they were switching out bikes, which is allowed in the sport. Going on to the Chengdu section, this was a really good one, and then you can see her, just not making that. But smiles all around.
So Dylan, for somebody that's maybe seeing trials for the first time out here, essentially, what is the rider's objective to do in this competition?
All right, so each section has a number of gates, and the rider has to get through each of those gates without putting their foot down, and essentially riding through the gates. So the bike's not allowed to touch the ground. Well, yeah, the tires obviously, but the frame or the cranks or the pedals or the handlebars not allowed to touch. And every time you can get through a gate or an obstacle within the section, you'll pick up a point, and there's a maximum of 60 points on offer for each section. So yeah, you got to go through, and look at that. Now that was an interesting one. Nina still got the points even though she fell across the finish line because her front axle had crossed. And that just shows how much they put into it.
The full dedication and commitment. Now, we see the riders, you're talking about keeping all their limbs on the bike and not touching down anything else besides the tires. How do they basically utilize that balance point? Are they using their brakes?
Yeah, it's a combination of brakes and balance, and just using your body weight to find that perfect spot where you can be on the bike and not have to fight it. But so there's your podium. It was Nina Reitenbach, Manon Basseville, and Janine Jungfels from Australia. What's really good to see is 3 different countries on the podium. Always good to know that the world is properly represented.
Yeah, the fact that we have such an international event going down, not only within our sport such as trials, but also with our cross-country eliminator, and the fact that BMX truly is a global event where everyone was brought here to Chengdu for. So take a look right here, not only of the balance in the course, but you actually can see the city right in the background. We are nestled right in downtown Chengdu, and it's such a cool juxtaposition of our park in Xinhua Park with also this course that's been designed.
All right, so going on to the men's race. In the men's race, you've got two different categories. You've got 26 and 20. Essentially, one is more BMX-based wheel size, and the other is more mountain bike-based wheel size. So two different styles of riding, and one is kind of BMX versus mountain bike. So, yeah, very interesting to watch. And the 26-inch race was absolutely riveting.
Wow.
You can see the Ion Arieto going over to that Chengdu big ball, which was, I mean, that thing was super high. It was, I think it was about 2.5 meters up.
Very impressive to see the balance and also getting the hops out there. Now, you talked about there being two different wheel size of bike. Again, the 20 is closer to a BMX wheel, and then the 26. Is one considered harder or maybe more advanced, or is one a stepping stone to the other?
No, not at all. It's each has its different benefits, and it's interesting to note that in section 1, the bigger wheels were definitely of an advantage, and in section 5 the smaller wheels were. So it really can just depend on the obstacles. So here we've got Thomas Pechhaker going in for the big kicker onto the log.
Wow.
Absolutely awesome. He's so stoked with that, getting through there.
Wow, that was a ski
powerful
jump
rider.
right there. He had to go down and still get the hop and then find the balance point on
Yeah.
top.
What is cool about that is you actually got to stop on top, because if you go over, you're just going to go over the bar. There's nothing to land on top.
So right now we see looking for the gate, trying to get that big hop.
Going straight through there now. That there's about 1.3 meters that he's got to jump straight from the ground with no speed, no that momentum, straight onto the back wheel. Making a mistake, falling into the water, and but that's right. He picked up a lot of points in that section. So going into the final, he really was in a very good position. He needed to get, I think it was 40 points to take the win, and he did that, but he didn't stop, and he pushed through all the way to the end. As you can see here, big kick up onto the UCI blocks. You'll see their front wheel landing just inside the tape. The riders have to watch that as well, and they have to stay within the section. If you cross over the tape, now look at this gap up to the UCI box.
So impressive, not only the big gaps, but the momentum. I mean, barely touching down just for a second and then springboarding off to the other hops. What a cool moment.
And Thomas Pechhaker taking his very first rainbow stripes, the youngster from Austria. And what a ride from him. And once again, 3 different countries on the podium. We've got Austria, Spain, and Germany. Really was an absolutely fantastic race. I could barely hold myself in. It was just totally amazing to watch.
Not only is the level of riding here just unbelievable, but the crowd is so exciting to be here in Chengdu. This is our 2nd year in a row. So not only did we expose a lot of new fans here in Asia to our sports, but the fact that we're building history and now they're coming back and they're able to cheer on their favorite rider. It's just a very cool energy here to see how much all the sports have been embraced inside of Chengdu.
Yeah, for sure. So going on to the bigger wheel, this is the 26-inch. As you said earlier, like slightly more mountain bike based, and you could see the riding styles a little different. They almost, if you want to call it, like have to ride the bikes more. There's less pulling, and they'll roll the bikes a little bit more. And we can see Sergi Longueras from Spain having a great first section through the Panda Rocks, getting a maximum score of 60 through there. And now we see him in the logs. Obviously, the difficulty with this is there's no straight edge to land on. Everything is like round and angled, and the course builders really did a fantastic job here. So we're going back up to the kicker, and this is this big jump, and here we go. That's the ski jump you were talking about. Just look at the control over there.
Oh, wow. And then landing, you have that narrow bridge that you come down on. So you got to find your not only balance point on the back wheel, but then catapult with precision to ride out on that bridge.
Yeah, for sure. And then into section 1 came Jack Carthy, and he came into this course with an absolute force. He got maximum score in both the first and the second section we're about to see now. And he really started off exceptionally strong, like dominating, and we're going to see him here as he goes through this. Just look at the accuracy and precision that he has on the bike. This is a very difficult hook that he had to do there. Up on, he's about to do the ski jump. and rolling it, taking a hard pedal stroke off that box on top there, onto the back wheel, and then rolling straight out the section. Happy about that. And then going into the UCI, into the Chengdu section, sorry. And the Chengdu section, he did a hook there, and he was the only rider to get that. But have a look at this. He's got a kick from that really narrow disc, and he's got to get onto the Chengdu tower over there.
No way.
Doing it easy, straight out. And going into the last section, he only needed 20 points to win. At this stage, he'd already won. He made a small little error, and I think he could have come back from it, but he'd already won the race now, and I think he was thinking about going out, relaxing and celebrating, because you can see here, he got out of it, but his pedal crossed the marker. He got 5 points. He couldn't carry on in the section, but he was world champion, and what a race it was. So he's the current world champion and reigning world champion, and what a ride for Great Britain. And once again, 3 countries on the podium, each and every event.
I love seeing the international representation out here, because that's what the Urban Cycling World Championships is about. Not only bringing all the countries together, right? The UCI setting the podium, using a lot of Olympic kind of judging as far as the world platform goes, but also bringing all of our sports together. So we had the cross-country eliminator, which is exciting to see this race in beautiful Chengdu, but now also looking at a few more of the highlights from our trials out here.
Yeah, it's amazing, you know, and each of these sports seems to complement the other in such a good way, you know, and what's so good to see is just all the different riders interacting and speaking and really excited. You know, you see in the trials, all the BMXs are there watching, and the cross-country eliminators watching, and then so in the other way.
Well, I definitely love all the other athletes watching. I got to say, Dylan Victor, it's been such a pleasure having you up in the booth, describing all the action for trials and cross-country eliminator. I'm going to say thank you as I get ready to welcome in our BMX expert, Steve McCann, to get ready for our women's.
Thank you very much, Darryl. It's been great being here, and we'll see you next year. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dylan. So right now, we are taking a look at our women's final. You see Hannah Roberts getting a little bit of support from the crowd. This is the 2018 UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Championships. As Hannah Roberts, we're taking a look at her second run out here. Starting things out with that no-hander. There is a double bar spin. That's right. She put her hands on in between and wound up catching the bars. So as we have our women's competition underway, which we are watching, I am joined in the booth by 8 times X Games medalist, hailing from Australia, currently living in Los Angeles. I'm talking about our BMX sport analysis, Steve McCann. Steve, welcome, Chengdu.
Thanks, Darryl. I'm happy to be back, mate. It's an exciting event we have on here today, isn't it?
Yeah, the unbelievable action. I had a chance to just break down some of the unique riding we saw in our cross-country eliminator and also in our trials with Dylan Victor. He broke down some of the madness that we're seeing on 2 wheels. But right now, we've got our BMX Freestyle Women's going on, and I'm hoping that you can shed some light on some of our riders on course.
Yeah, this contest was absolutely amazing. Hannah Roberts here, our last year's world champion. We have here celebrating her run at the end. I know Hannah was ecstatic. There we have Angie Marino giving her a big hug after she finished her run. Big old school no-hander there on the spine.
Now, things to note for all of our viewers at home. The big word in freestyle BMX is that 2020 Tokyo Olympics welcomed in BMX for the first time. This is our inaugural time being there. So basically, UCI is working hand in hand with the Olympics to create a platform to find out which riders are going to wind up qualifying for the Olympics. We started November 1st, last weekend, the qualifying process, and that is going to go till May 11th, 2020. There's going to be 9 spots in the Olympics, and this World Championships is very important for the points. You can log on to uci.org to find out all the information on there, not only to see current point standings, but what other contests are going to be coming up within the year.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's really important moving forward as these countries get more and deeper into the season. Those points are going to count towards those spots for the Olympic Games. And, you know, that is the end goal for all of these athletes, is to represent their country at the Olympics and hopefully end up on the podium or the the big one would be to end up with a gold medal.
That definitely would be a big thing, not only for yourself, but also for your country. Well, right now, another rider hailing from the United States. This is the super stylish Angie Marino. I love the way that she twisted that X up, actually using the underspin rotation to kick her back end out. Now, things to note so far in Angie's run, the height on that quarter pipe, really airing after the box jump. I'm talking about this quarter right here where you see she takes off her top side foot, and she has 10 seconds to go.
Yeah, no, Angie is an absolute dominator on the course as we see her hitting the bowl corners, coming into the box jump for an X-up. You know, and Angie is just, she makes everything look good on a BMX bike. She's the full package. She is just a great ambassador for the sport, and Team USA, you see them all giving her a hug just there to let her know their appreciation for what she did out there today on the course.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing. We're seeing two different styles already from Hannah Roberts and also Angie Marino. It's so cool that that's the big part about freestyle, right? It put the two words together, freedom, style, boom, you got it together. And that's what we're seeing from our women. And the great thing, especially with BMX being inducted into the 2020 Olympics, we're seeing the sport being pushed forward. Not only the progression of the sport as a whole, but specifically with our women riders. And there you see Angie with an 87.80. So her score was higher than Hannah Roberts. So she is going to be currently leading the points.
Yeah, that was a huge score, wasn't it, Darryl?
It really was. And one other rider, USA's Paris Benenga, getting ready to roll in. Paris also very good friends with Angie Marino. They ride together all the time in Southern California. Look at the height on that no-hander.
It's a huge no-hander, straight in the toboggan over the 10-foot transfer, into the hip, doing a massive can-can. Yeah, Paris just really puts it together right here. She's linking things and making it look amazing.
Now, Steve, the way that the format works, it's going to be the same for our men's competition. It is a two-run format. Best run counts out here as we're looking at one of Paris's runs with a big transfer toboggan. She's got a lot of speed. That was a huge transfer because she had to have the speed to catch that wall ride. We haven't seen any other rider utilize that section of the course, and it's just showing how stylish, fast, and smooth Paris is going, especially with that one-handed table. Those are three words that our judges want to see and issue out the points from 1 to 100 in a big 360, with Paris coming in with 3 seconds to go.
Yeah, she absolutely laid it down right there, Darryl. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her up her score from her first run and challenge Hannah and Angie Marino for the podium.
And you see Team USA there giving a big hug to Ryan Nyquist. You know him not only as a top competitor, still competing, pushing himself hopefully into the Olympics, but also as the coach for the women's BMX freestyle. Let's look at the height of the no-hander, Steve.
Yeah, as we watch the replay right here, she's doing a great job. And, you know, just complete flow, as we can see there with the toboggan over the quarter and then over the hip. That was huge. That right there to me was one of the highlights. Straight into the wall ride here across into the quarter pipe. You know, linking those two together, huge for the scoreboard. And then the 360 at the end over the box jump. You know, she had the complete package. She flowed well. She used everything on the course, and it reflects right here with a huge 93, Darryl.
That is a big score. The only rider we've seen go into the 90s in the 93. That is a huge lead over Angie Marino right there. What an exciting moment. You see Hannah Roberts, the defending champion, who finished out in third, giving a big hug. So you see that camaraderie. Taking a look, it is a sweep for USA. Paris Benenga with a dominant 93, Angie Marino with an 87.80, and Hannah Roberts with an 86.30. So three big scores for Team USA. But as you look down the list, Lara Lessman, Teresa Azcárraga, and Nikita Ducaro are your top 6 right there. So we are getting ready for our men's 2018 UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Championship to go down. Taking a look at our riders, we had our qualifier and semifinal. We are racking them in reverse order from our top 12. It is going to be Jake Woolwork, Daniel Sandoval, Alex Nicolin, Jeremy Mallet, Eric Reizev, Daniel Dares, Justin Dowell, Ben Wallace, James Jones, Kenneth Tencio, Brandon Lupos, and Nick Bruce are going to be, again, this is reverse order from our qualifier. Before we meet our riders out there, we are going to talk for a moment about the format. Our riders are going to have 2 runs out on the course. It is going to be a best run that counts. This is not overall, which we did last year. Again, best run counts, where you could see down to the last rider, as we saw in Paris, switch up the order. So, Steve, right now we're getting ready to welcome in our first rider to the course. Coming all the way from Australia, he had a huge weekend prior in Chengdu for the World Cup, where he got first place. This is the Australian Jake Woolwork.
Yeah, and Jake Woolwork will definitely be one to watch. This guy won last weekend. He qualified in last, but don't let that fool you, because this kid has a chance at winning. I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at him on the podium, maybe possibly a first place position, and it's not because he's Australian and I'm being biased. It's because I genuinely think he has a chance.
I was just going to say that, but knowing Jake's riding, I have to agree with you. I mean, to be honest, any rider that's in the final could potentially take it, especially this guy right here, Daniel Sandoval, coming from Corona, California. Daniel has been such a dominant force in BMX. He actually got 4th at this event last year. I know he would love to be on the podium as he was the outside just looking in. Well, right now we're going to the other side of the world. This is Alex Nikolin, part of the Russian invasion. There's been several riders from Russia who have just stepped up their game in the last few years, and Alex Nikolin with smooth style is definitely one of them.
Yeah, and now we have Jeremy Malott. And Jeremy, he has surprised everyone out here this weekend. Not because we didn't know he was going to be as good as he is, just because of the way he's ridden, the way he's handling the pressure and putting it together.
Absolutely. Right now, this is another component of the Russian invasion we were talking about. Irik Ryzev. Look for big combinations in one air from this rider, known to sometimes put 3, 4, or 5 tricks in one air. It's always exciting watching him. Well, right now, there's one rider who's been on top of almost every single podium in BMX. We are talking about the Venezuelan rider, Daniel Dares.
Yeah, he doesn't need any introduction at all, does he? Daniel was my roommate for a long time. I love the guy. He's won everything, a total dominator, and someone to look out for.
Well, we're seeing the USA rider, the young gun, coming from Virginia Beach, Justin Dowell. Another rider to really keep an eye for unique combinations over box jumps and quarter pipes. He's got the bar spins on lock, and he's not afraid to put 3, 4, or 5 tricks in one jump as well. Well, right here, the big boy from the UK, we're talking about the proud papa who's being cheered on by his wife and daughter, Ben Wallace. Ben is definitely a powerful rider. He rode so well in the semifinals. Look for big 360 lookbacks and just powerful riding from Ben.
Yeah, Ben is an absolute shredder, and he's my old teammate, and he's not one to count out for sure.
Well, our next rider is teammate from Great Britain. We're talking about the explosive riding of James Jones. He was riding fantastic in qualifying, and I can't wait to see his runs in the final.
Yeah, and Kenneth Tencio, here he comes. This guy has so many massive moves, and he makes your jaw drop every time he rides. I'm excited to watch him and see what he has to offer on the table today and out on the course.
Well, 2 riders remain, and these are definitely the top 2 biggest qualifiers in our semifinal. Our next rider coming from Australia. You know him fresh off an X Games gold medal in BMX dirt, but he definitely could bring that to the park. We're talking about Brandon Lupos, originally from Sydney, currently living in the States.
And can I say it? Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Yes, you can, because there's something about the Australians cut from another cloth. But right now, your top #1 qualifier, the highest score coming from the United States, rocking the colors proudly across his chest, none other than Nick Bruce.
Yeah, and Nick Bruce he is the ultimate, and he is the dominator. This guy has so many tricks. He can win any contest he enters.
Well, now, Steve, a very interesting thing to note before we get underway. We're going to keep talking about it being best run counts format. Last year, it was an overall average. So Nick Bruce had the highest score in the semifinal, but was not able to wind up making it to finals because of that overall approach. He had a crash in his other score. This is going to make it so interesting, the fact that it is best run counts out here. The riders are going to have an opportunity to come at it with a strategic approach. So the way it's going to work, our judges are going to give a score from 1 to 100. You might be saying, who are the judges? We have Germany's Marcus Wilke, USA's Brian Kaczynski, France's Romuald Norreau. We have Slovenia's Luka Kovic, and from the UK, a female judge of Christy Hughes. They are under the watchful eye of head judge Dave Cleworth and our UCI technical delegate, Bart DeJong, who will be here for the UCI to match the Olympic standards. Yeah, and I think today it's very important to mention that risk creates reward today. With 2 runs, you're going to get the best riding out of these guys. If they make a mistake in one, doesn't matter, they get another one. So you're going to see these guys really risking it. As we bring Jake Woolwork to be our first rider, he has so much to offer for everyone. Now, Steve, you're a huge competitor, legend of BMX. You've been in so many competitions. As we have our 12 riders to get ready on the course, what's going through their heads? Well, I know what's going through Jake's head right now, and he is here to win. He's got some big tricks planned for everyone, and I can't wait to see if he's going to actually pull them. I won't mention what they are, but just be ready, because this kid can win, and he has the potential. So let's see what he has to offer. All right, so I see you got a little bit of the Aussie inside tips right here. That's what I like to hear right now. Cheering on your fellow Aussie as the crowd here in Chengdu gets ready to welcome in for the first run. Whoa! Wow, flipping down. That was a huge red carpet entrance. Yeah, he does a 360 alley-oop double whip straight into a front flip dowel, so he's connecting the tricks that you need to do. Massive no-hander over the hip gap. Going the distance all the way, bar spin up into the spine with the 360 downside whip. Straight into a front flip bar spin. What? He is on right now, Darryl. I love it. Flare whipping the 10-foot to 10-foot. Jake Woolwork knows these points are important and knows how to get them by having a great run. 25 seconds to go. Bar spin flare. Woolwork is on fire. You weren't kidding about putting all of his chips on the table, trying for that top spot. No-hander across. Yeah, he's definitely putting it together. Opposite flare. Wow, that was in his non-traditional direction. Yeah, he's definitely on point right now, Darryl. Ending out his run with hitting the hip here. And a flare tail whip, exclamation point at the end of his first run. Jake Woolwork putting it down when it counts. Yeah, wow. That's exactly what Jake told me he was going to do. He's here to make a statement. He won the last event in the World Cup Series. He knows he has to lay it down because he's the very first competitor. The judges are going to be basing all the runs off of Jake's score today. You know the funny thing, Darryl? He's got way more to offer. He told me what tricks he has planned, and so hopefully in his second run he pulls them, and we're standing here talking about it. Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights. Big shout out to the late, great Dave Mira. He was the first rider to ever backflip in off a sub box. Doing that hard trick at the beginning of your run is definitely a difficult thing. We talk about risk reward a lot, and if you have a hard trick in the beginning of your run, that can be very difficult. Now, that right there, the front flip transfer from the 10-foot to 10-foot was massive. You see here, he does the 360 downside whip over the spine. But to note, everything he did today was connected. You know, Jake put down a massive run, and yeah, Steve, that's a good point that you make, especially that front flip bar spin. When you talk about connected, basically the people are going to be judged out here, the riders, on utilizing the course, and they don't want to have any dead walls out there. Again, the scoring is 1 to 100, and they're going to be judged not only on their speed, their bike control, the difficulty of tricks, but they want to know the quantity of tricks put in, the progression, the execution, flow, and style. And I got to tell you, Jake had all of those things out there in an 88.6. Wow. All right, so he's setting the bar pretty high with his first run, and it's crazy to think that you said he's got more potentially lined up for run number 2. He definitely has more in the bag, and I'm excited to see his second run. But right now, we're going to move on to Daniel Sandoval from Team USA. Daniel is such an amazing rider. Yeah, he really is. He was a rider who pushed jumping variations over the last 5 years in BMX with double downside 360 tail whip like that right into the double tail whip over that channel. Sandoval tail whip to no-hander, getting enough speed to transfer up onto our catwalk here with the front flip transfer. Front flip flare right there, heading back down towards the box jump over the hitching post. 360 bar spin to late tail whip. Now Daniel has all the tricks, and Daniel also told me that as he does a huge 540 flare right there, you know, Daniel told me he had to make a statement. He knows he didn't qualify up near the top, so he has to put pressure on everyone. And that's exactly what he's doing right now, Darryl. Yeah, Sandoval last year finished 4th at this event, just outside of podium. He wants to be cruising back to the USA with that rainbow jersey. Look at that with the bar spin flare on one of the more narrow quarter pipes out there. Super steep transition, having no problem at all spotting the landing and putting a nice tail whip topper on the end of his first run there. Sandoval looking psyched as Team USA is cheering him on from the sidelines. Nicely done, Daniel.
Yeah, very nicely done, by the way.
Taking a look at Jamie Staff, head coach out there, giving the thumbs up of approval.
Yeah, I think we're in for a contest, Daryl. I feel it. Everyone's on fire right now. They're pulling their runs, which sets up just for an amazing contest. We want to see guys pulling their tricks.
Oh, look at that
push everyone.
style. That is what we're talking about. So for all of our fans who are brand new to BMX, what we're talking about as far as style, you could take a trick and two riders could wind up doing it and they will not look the same because you give it your own personal spin, such as that big 360 dropping the front end down. Let's look here as Sandoval does that front flip flare transfer, spotting the landing. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he was really on point in this run. As we can see here, he does a truck to late tail whip, which is, you know, that's a very technical trick and amazing to watch him pull it with such precision.
So Daniel right now waiting for his score to come in. These are always the moments of truth. But if you're a rider that winds up going in the first heat, you're almost at a disadvantage because if you're going later on, you earn that position in the semi, you don't necessarily know how much to slide that risk-reward factor out there. So Daniel coming in at 81.80, another impressive score, but Jake Woolwork with the 88.60 is going to stay in that top spot.
Yeah, we know that Daniel has more to add to his runs, the same as, you know, all these guys do. And I think once the scores get settled in after the first runs, we're going to see everyone change.
All right, we got Alex Nicolin. We're talking about Russia with the backflip drop in. Wow, we are seeing a lot of riders utilize that unbelievable start. Nicolin going head over heels right there on the transfer. Nicolin, always one of my favorite riders to watch because he's got that speed and style down. Look at that transfer all the way with the flare bar spin. That was an insane way to go up onto the elevated section of the park.
Yeah, he's putting it together right now. The big flare from the 10-foot to 10-foot, back towards the hips, manual across the box, headed back up towards the big part of the course. And a front flip up the driveway as he heads back down to the spine. Big old tabletop. What's he got on the box jump?
Setting up big for a cash roll. Yes! That was a huge trick. You're essentially doing a 180 while you travel backwards, doing the flip, and then 180 around. First done by Daniel Dares and then perfected by Brett Benasewicz. Wow.
A 540 flare there to end his run out. He knows how to put a stamp at the end of his run, and that's exactly how you do it with tricks like that 540 flare.
That was awesome. Now, Steve, I got to ask you, that run was almost flawless. We saw he actually put a foot down at one point. So the riders have 60 seconds on the clock. If they wind up putting a foot down or crashing, how does that affect their score, and can they keep riding?
Yeah, I think it's always up to the judge's discretion on like whether they dock you or not. But, you know, I would say that if you put a foot down or if you slide out, you're probably not going to score the same as some of these other guys. So he'll probably be looking in his second run to improve that as we watch him do that front flip turn down, which is just such a huge trick. And that flare bar spin from the quarter on the bottom of the course up to the top. That's a huge transfer, and I can't tell you how hard stuff like that is.
Yeah, that's very difficult to get the transfer over where you got to bring your body weight, but also to throw the bar spin in there. That was one of the bigger tricks of his run, although almost everything's a highlight, including that cash roll. Now, one thing to note, this would have been a first place run maybe a year ago. Honestly, this is unbelievable, but because we opened up the Olympic qualifying process, the judges are looking for perfection out here, and they're going to want to make sure that a rider utilizes the entire 60 seconds with as minimal mistakes as possible. So I had a chance to talk with Dave Cleworth, their head judge, and he was basically telling me if a rider crashes or they put a foot down, it's going to heavily impact their score. But, you know, the other parts of his run were absolutely solid. It's not up to us. Obviously, we'd want to give every rider a high score out there, especially Alex Nicolin, but we're going to see. So an 80.60, that's why that number might be a little bit lower than Jake Woolwork or Daniel Sandoval, is because of the fact he had a couple of little bobbles in there with his feet. But he's going to have a lot of room to improve. So we're keeping it rolling. Our fourth rider of heat number 1. They're broken down 4 riders into 3 different heats. We're talking about the USA rider of Jeremy Mallett. Now, I got to tell you, I really love watching Jeremy's riding. Let's see if he takes a similar approach where he barely pedaled at all in the semifinal and qualifier. Let's see if he takes a similar one. Yes, big 4 tricks in 1 right there in that 360.
360 double tail to bar spin. He's connecting all the lines together right now, Daryl, as he goes into the hip sections. Bar spin to no-hander. He's connecting really well.
And this is what I was talking about. Watch how he was barely pedaling.
720 is the box right now.
And he's just landing smooth in between. The only place he's taking a pedal, going around with that flare tail whip, is just to get speed to clear an obstacle. And the judges know that. If you wind up taking a pedal just to get the gas to clear a gap, that means that you're landing very in control and smooth and riding at your own pace, which we're seeing as he,
That was a rough one right there, Dal. He caught his front wheel as he came in from that 540 flare. Now, it's important to note that with all of these guys, they're total professionals, and we have the best medical staff on hand at all times. And I'm sure they're making sure that he's okay. And, you know, all these guys out here, we've all had our fair share of huge hits, and we all know how to handle them. And we actually love the fact that we know that the medical staff here is the best of the best.
Yeah, and a lot of times our riders are just catching their breath because they wind up exerting themselves from the 60 seconds. Right now you can hear all the crowd in Chengdu cheering as Jeremy Mallett winds up standing up as we look at the highlights. So very unfortunate that he fell at the end of his run, but look how much action was completely packed in the 59 seconds prior to that crash.
Yeah, as we watch him do a flare tail whip right here. Very hard trick, just to land perfect and ride away smooth. I
got to tell you, I'm very happy that Jeremy, we see right there, is up on his own accord. It's very special that the riders do get up. I know you're talking about everybody being tough as nails out here, but it's unbelievable to just see. I mean, I'm always amazed by it. I know you and I are both lifetime riders. We've had our crashes, but when you see your friends take a crash and get up, you're just always, I'm personally always amazed at how tough the riders are out there. Well, talking about a tough one right now, our current leader, Jake Walwork, is ready for run 2 of 2. Again, the format that counts, it's going to be a best run. Let's see the strategy if he winds up pouring on a little bit more from his first run, trying to up the 88.6.
Jake's going to bring the heat as he drops in with a flare drop in, straight into the transfer, the 360 double tail whip. And this is what I was talking about, the no-handed front flip over the gap. Oh my God, he's on fire right now as he does the no-hander over the gap, over the hip gap, bar spin up to the wall, coming back down to the spine section with a 360 tail whip into the money booter with a big no-handed front flip. He is putting it together right now, and I love it.
2 for 2 on that transfer going across. Double tail whip. Whoa, I believe that was one more time around. I stand corrected. Going for the triple whip. So we are seeing Jake right there wave off the end of the run. Now, Steve, the riders have up to their own to wind up calling it or using the entire run. They know it's a best run format that counts. So if you wind up messing in a run, you might wind up pulling off to the side saying, hey, I know I had a mess up. It's not going to improve my score from the first run. But right here, you weren't kidding, calling it out, the improvement in this next run.
As you can see here, he does the 360 double tail whip on the transfer and into this trick right here, which I love, the no-handed front flip flare. That's
and it was over that channel. I mean, that's an 8-foot channel. It's basically a vert ramp right there. That's definitely one for the highlight reel.
It is. And I'm just so impressed with how this guy's handled the pressure, and he put together a really solid run in his first one, knowing that he had to come out of the gate swinging. And he's done exactly that with this no-handed front flip right here over the box jump. And yeah, it's just really cool to watch, and I'm sure the Aussie guys are proud of him. And you know, the score reflects a crash, but you know what? Jake's sitting in first place still right now with an 88.60. And the question is, how long will that hold up for?
Yeah, this is the nail-biting moment for him. He has to watch all the other riders, the 11 finalists, to say what are they going to do out there? Are they going to bump my score down? And they are all very hungry for it, especially Daniel Sandoval. As we said, he was just outside in 2017, 4th place. Sandoval, a very focused rider, and he's another one with big bags of tricks. You see Sandoval right there press and play on his music, trying to make the impossible possible. possible by having that mental focus and getting in the zone. So 60 seconds has started as Sandoval transfers up, coming into the spine. 360 bar spin to downside tail whip.
And he goes for a windshield wiper. That trick's so awesome. And a triple tail whip in the quarter pipe. So Daniel is doing exactly what we talked about. When you qualify low, you have to make a statement. As he heads back up to the top portion of the course, what's he going to do? Downside tail whip.
Sandoval charging. Ooh, big height there on that 360 tail whip transfer. Sandoval with 25 seconds to go. 540 flare. Oh!
Almost taking out the camera guy right there. But, you know, Daniel he's so much fun to watch. I love watching Daniel Sandoval. And, you know, for Team USA, he's such a good addition to their team. And I'm sure we'll see him back here next year and, you know, looking to put a spot in for the Olympics.
Well, you can never count Daniel out because his first run was impressive with that 81.80. That's definitely going to be the score that sticks. Let's take a look at run number 2 and see what happened here. There's the bar spin to downside 360 tail whip, meeting the pedals halfway around. Let's take a look here, the 360 tail whip, and then kicking it back the opposite direction, finding the feet, spotting the pedals clean. We see Daniel go up with that triple tail whip. The feet going wild style. Here's a tail whip on the quarter pipe. He had a little bit of trouble when he did that transfer up. He came up a little bit short. He front backed it, lost some of his speed. I don't think that tail whip was maybe what he was looking to do on the quarter pipe.
Yeah.
And when you wind up losing your footing a little bit, it sometimes can throw off the rest of your run. Here's a look. Wind up washing out down to the side. Thankfully, he slid into the transition there, not taking the hardest of crashes. If a rider falls into the transition, you wind up sliding down. You do not want to all of a sudden land flat on the bottom. So that is a 50.80. Again, the score is going to be an 81.80. Sandoval still sitting in second place.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Daniel's so good, and it doesn't reflect how where he usually would be. So we wish Daniel luck, and I know he'll be back better and stronger next time.
All right, well, Russia locked and loaded, ready to pull the trigger of run number 2. Alex Nicolin, let's see if he does a similar strategy. And he does! The backflip drop in, very clean right there. Let's see what he chooses on the transfer. The no-handed front flip. That was crazy, Steve.
Yeah, he's putting it together right now, Daryl, as he heads towards the hips. Big old tabletop, landing perfectly smooth.
Nicolin going up with the tail whip. Oh! The tail whip flare transfer. Last time did the bar spin. We talk about looking to turn things up a few notches. Nicolin trying to do just that, looking to go for broke in the final.
Yeah, that's a tough one, just hanging up right there. The downside flare whip. Doesn't always go your way, but I love the fact that all these guys are sending it. They're not just kind of cruising into their second run. They're really putting the screws to people and trying to put pressure on the guys that have to come next.
So right now, Steve, we're also seeing some of that strategy, right? A rider puts down a first run, they get a score up on the board. Nicolin's first score was in the 80s. I believe it was an 80.6. And he said, you know what, in my next run, I want to try to turn things up a little bit. And that's what we saw as he went for the tail whip flare. That's crazy. Yeah. Transferring all the way over. You see he doesn't get the distance. That ramp protrudes just a little bit from the larger quarter pipe, and he winds up hanging up his back tire. Thankfully, he didn't buck him to the floor. So the 35 will be the throwaway score. 80.6 is the one that sticks, and he's going to still be sitting there in third place, I believe.
Yeah, no, it was really unfortunate. He only needed about a foot more of distance, and he would have rode away from that, and then who knows what would have happened after that. But, yep, he's sitting in third place right now. We have one more guy to go in this small group, of, and it's going to be Jeremy Malat.
Well, I got to say, Jeremy has been riding like no other. Recently a father, and he told me that this fueled his riding, his drive, and also his focus that only being a new father could do. So Jeremy out on course, putting it up with the tail whips coming up. No-handed 360. Again, it's a best run format. That counts. Wow.
That's a 360 double tail whip to bar spin. Not many people in the world that can do that. And he's connecting it with a double tail whip on the hip, straight into the bar spin to no-hander, adding tech to his run as well as the big elements.
So let's watch as he's having no dead walls out here, and his pedal choice is very limited. I got to tell you, I'm a fan of that because it shows that you're in control. And what you're talking about as far as connecting the ramps out here, You're finding your lines. You are very confident in your choice. You know where you're going, and that's how Jeremy's able to just coast and cruise. That is awesome style for Jeremy.
Yeah,
Normally you see a rider do that at a bowl, and there's the 540 flare. Bam, getting it done. Talk about redemption as he has 3 seconds to go. Downside tail whip. And that is a buzzer on a big second run with the flip fakie a little bit after time. That will be up to judges to call if the flip fakie will count. But the things that will count is that 540 flare. Talk about the redemption. Now, Steve, for a rider to go down on a crash in their first run and come back, what does that feel like in their second run?
Oh, it's just such a huge weight off your shoulders when you pull your run that you want to do. And I think we'll be able to watch here in some of the replays. Like, you know, he had some massive tricks. Jeremy really just, you know, he came out swinging like a 360 double tail to bar spin. There is so much technical difficulty in that trick. So much going on. Look at it right here. 360 double tail up. He has to get set, grab the bike, and then spin the bars. Not many people in the world that can do that trick and then keep going in their run and do things like this. The 720 over the smaller box. And then, as we're going to see here, the flare whip, landing perfect, putting his feet on the pedals, and then continuing on with his run. The 540 flare right here. You know, Jeremy's just done such a great job of linking things together, making it look flawless.
Now, let's see what the judges think. Those runs had the big tricks that you just described. He did have a lot of use of every single obstacle that he hit. There were not a lot of dead walls, and he landed confidently and coasted in between, which I loved seeing the bike control. There's a look at the judges panel. We have Christy Hughes, Brian Kaczynski, Romilad Noro, Marcus Vilke, Luka
As
Kovic.
we watch the score come in right now.
77.80 is going to be Jeremy's score right there. Now, you might be surprised of saying, why is that score maybe seem a little bit low? Well, the judges set the tone. You're judged off the other riders, maybe not necessarily the number. Jake Walworth got that 88.60. He was the first rider that went. So a lot of times when they give a score, they want to judge against other riders, not maybe back themselves into a corner with a number. So you wind up basing it off of that. The fact that this is the UCI Urban Cycling World Championships, we have the utmost judging, the utmost riding, and the highest expectations from our riders. So let's take a look at a few of the highlights here.
This is our leader right now, Jake Walworth, and he just he laid it down. I can't explain it any better than that. He just came out there and did what he needed to do to move into first place and put the pressure on everyone else out there. As we watch him do a front flip bar spin right there, a really hard trick. Daniel Sandoval right here doing a huge dip 360. Big old double tail whip across the quarter to quarter on the 10-foot, and then this front flip flare right here to top it off. You know, Daniel is he's so good and he's so much fun to watch. And then we have Alex Nicolin right here doing the front flip turn down, a big old bar spin transfer flare up the gap from the bottom of the course to the top. 360 alley-oop from the hitching post across to the box, and this cash roll right here to finish it off. He was riding so good. Then we have Jeremy Malott right here. Big double tail whip on the hip into the 720. So smooth and just easy to watch. See him do a flare whip right here in the quarter pipe in the hip section. Yeah, so there you have it. That was our first group of riders. What did you think, Daryl?
It's great to see all of the countries out here represented. The fact that we wind up having our breakout events for the Olympic qualifying process starting, the riders know how important this is. As we take a look at our first rider of heat number 2, we say he's from Russia, and we know that the Russian riders have been on one, really coming to their own. Irik Ryzev really exploded onto the scene a few years ago with box jump tricks that are just crazy combinations, as Ryzev drops in with a 360 tail whip to bar spin.
And a 360 triple whip on the money boot of the box jump into a look back across the 10-foot to 10-foot.
How crazy is it? We are just seeing consistent triple whips out here.
And it's really sad, but he's got a puncher. That's really unfortunate because he was on fire and on point, and the run was looking good.
Well, now, Steve, let's talk about this. If a rider winds up having a flat tire out there the clock doesn't necessarily stop. They can grab somebody else's bike and go on the course. Obviously, if you have a crash or you don't get to utilize your entire run, it's going to not score you that high, but sometimes the secondary score can count for tiebreakers, and also in the case in our qualifying where it's an overall approach as opposed to a best run score. This is crazy. He's on a borrowed bike doing a no-handed 360. A BMX bike, the geometry, even if it's off by a few centimeters, can wind up changing how the steering handles or the way the responsive nature is. So Eric Ryzev showing you how talented he is jumping on a borrowed bike out there. But the way it's going to work, he's going to have to get his pit crew, his Russian Federation, his friends, or himself to change the back tube to get ready for his next run. Again, this is the cool thing about our feature of being best run that counts. I'm going to keep saying it and talking about it because it's so important. The fact that this could just be a throwaway from him. He went out on the course, maybe got the jitters, and now he could come back and say, all right, let me get down to business.
Yeah, I think it's always important to go out there and finish your run, even with a crash, just to get your senses back online. As we watch him hit the box jump with a 360 triple tail whip. It's a huge trick, guys. I can't stress enough how hard these things are that these guys are doing. These are the best 12 guys in the world. And
that might have been where he got that flat tire. You could see the back end. He wound up hanging up just a little bit or coming down hard. A lot of the bike riders now are their bikes are so light, including the tires. There'll be a very thin tire as far as cutting down on weight, and sometimes it really can puncture a little bit easy. So 40.80, that score would have been way lower if he didn't jump on a borrowed bike out there.
Yeah, unfortunate situation, but I'm sure we'll see him back in run 2 and riding amazing as we are so used to with him. Well, now this guy right here, Daniel Durs. I love this guy. He has his own action sports facility in North Carolina, and you know, Daniel is the sort of guy that has won every single contest you can think of. He's been around for years. People come and go, and Daniel is still here dominating. He is the Venezuelan hero, and he is the guy that we all love to watch.
A big part about Daniel is that he really visualizes before his runs. He gets in that focus. You see him just taking a moment. Riders have up to 60 seconds when they decide to drop. This is his course. He's visualizing. You can see that right now. Daniel usually takes a very strategic approach as well, where he tries to basically hit every single obstacle out on the course.
360 triple tail whip. So Daniel is making a stand right here. He is here to bring the heat. Unfortunately, just going down right there, and it's sad to see because Daniel is so consistent. He works so hard, and everyone loves to see Daniel succeed, the same as we do for all these guys. But I may be a little biased because I love Daniel Durs, but that's
you know, his track record speaks for itself. So as much as it can be easy to say that you're biased, you don't win every major competition in the world if you don't have that consistency.
No,
so the thing is, again, this format out here, all he's got to do is visualize. It takes one run. That is it. But let's see what happened here.
As he goes into the 360 triple tail whip transfer. Now, he adds an extra element to this because he's going sideways across the course, which, you know, you may not think it's hard, but traveling the distance he did, it was probably 20 feet he's traveling across sideways.
Now, also, I want to add this in as well. You ride with Daniel on the regular. Usually he does a double tail whip. This is the first time that I've actually seen him go for that triple whip. Is that something he's been working on?
Yeah, Daniel is so capable of so many different things. And, you know, without the 2 runs count, it's best run, you see these guys stepping it up a notch and knowing that, like, they have that chance. And when you're as good as these guys are, you're the top 12 in the world, the best of the best, you can take chances like that. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you see the 6 coming in for the points right there. Daniel's just jumping this right now. This isn't his run. He's just feeling it out. Yep. So usually what we see from Daniel Durs, he'll wind up doing a run, maybe would have done a single tail whip or a double tail whip, and then in his second run, he winds up usually pouring it on, turning it up a few notches. But right there, like you said, he wanted to make that statement, fell on the 360 triple tail whip transfer. Do you think it's a tongue twister to say, imagine trying to do that?
Well, it's the World Championships, Daryl, and you don't come here to get second place, do you? So anyway, moving down the field, we have Justin Dow, and I'm excited to watch this guy ride.
Yeah, Dowell is a beast. He's coming from Virginia Beach. Last year, he got 8th place, looking to turn things up, doing it for Team USA with the backflip double bar spin over the big spine.
Straight in. Oh, my God. A bar spin truck to tail whip to bar spin into a look back, transferring the hips, connecting things together. We don't see it too often where the guys are connecting those lines. Into a look back over the hip section.
4 hits in 1 on that box jump. Throwing it up. I believe it was a little hard to see from our house, but I think that was the Twix, which is a tail whip with a bar spin as he winds up going up.
Yeah, it was the
360 X up over the box jump backwards. The degree of difficulty, because the landing is a lot steeper when you go backwards, the margin is increased. Dowell is on one right now.
Yeah, the bar spin flare right there, straight into the 270 truck over the hip, into a 450 tail whip over the hip. He is on fire. Alley-oop flare, 540. Wow, now that's how you pack a run in at the end, right?
Wow, that was a stacked run. You can see the excitement from Justin Dowell. You see Ryan Nyquist down there, a competitor in BMX freestyle himself, but also the head women's BMX coach for Team USA, as he is seeing Justin Dowell put down a big run. Not only did he have the big tricks throughout, but he had a very clean ending of his run. Look at the backflip double bar spin. Throwing him around once, putting his hands on, and throwing him around a second time.
Yeah. Now the question is, what's he going to do in his second run? As we watch him here do the
Did he
truck
even
to
top
tail
this
whip
run?
to bar spin. Yeah, just huge, massive tricks right here. The look back across the 10-foot, you know, just phenomenal. Amazing execution. Another look back, we see him on the other hip. Now this right here, the Twix. Tail whip, one-handed bar spin, like, that's a trick that only he can do.
Yeah, with that transfer, which is pretty crazy to do going up there. Then the other thing to note as well, you talked about him having those unique lines out there. I love the way that he landed the look back, he pumped on the flat bottom, and then set up for the hip. Again, it's a lot of bike control. He didn't just go out there doing big tricks, being lost out there.
Yeah.
And especially an emphasis on that is that alley-oop flare transfer.
Yeah.
Alley-oop is where you're traveling backwards as opposed to going forwards on an air, and spotted the landing.
Yeah, there was so much going on in his run and just so exciting to watch.
Let's see.
Boom! A 92, Darryl. Oh,
We've got a new leader. First score to go into the 90s, a 92.20. Justin Dowell is putting Team USA right in that top spot as he throws down that enormous first run. Jake Woolwork is going to be holding strong with an 88.6, followed by USA's Daniel Sandoval. So USA, Australia, and USA are current podium spots. But we are not done at all, as we have one more rider of heat number 2. He had a dominant riding in qualifying and also in semifinals. This is the big boy from Great Britain, being cheered on by his wife and daughter in the house. We're talking about the mongoose rider of Ben Wallace.
Yeah, Ben Wallace he's a absolutely just dominator. I love watching this guy ride, and I'm excited to see what he has right now, Darryl.
Ben has some of the biggest 360s out there. He really utilizes the height in the pump and the fact that he rotates in the non-rotational, conventional direction for his foot placement. He's able to really tweak these 360 lookbacks. Let's see if he maybe brings that style out here.
He's riding with so much power as the alley-oop tail whips onto the thing into a 360 look back.
That is what we were talking about. That is signature Ben Wallace. He just blasts the height, including on that 1-foot tabletop transfer. Yeah, Wallace going wall to wall on that ride, going from the quarter pipe to quarter pipe.
Yeah, he's riding flawlessly right now with a
big cannonball full extension. Alley-oop with the X-up. Wallace looking like a vert ramp rider out there as he sets up for that flare turn down. Nice one-footed X-up on the wall with a bar spin to look down, going over the extended spine.
Yeah, he's really putting it together right now, isn't he? The 540 on the quarter on the up.
Come on, Ben. Let's see if he's got a big one to wrap it up. Bam, double tail whip and a flare at height. Oh, man.
That was nasty. He just landed a little low, and it kind of jacked him up the way that it turned so fast.
Oh, man, I feel for Ben. He put the double thumbs up. I think more than anything right now, I mean, I never want to speak for a rider, but he's just got to feel winded and also a little bit defeated. You put down a flawless run like that, and at the last second, I think the buzzer might have already chimed, but you're midway through the trick, you fall That is so disappointing.
Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking in a way. You know, you make it through your entire run, you're feeling good, and then something just like that happens. So as we watch him here on the replays, the 360 look back, only Ben Wallace can do it as good as he does. 360 double downside whip, you know, putting things together back to back like he needed to do. You can see here in the replay, just perfect execution. Ben is he's one of my favorite guys to watch. I know I say that about a lot of guys, but they're all so good as we watch him do the bar spin to turn down right there.
Yeah, I agree with you with Ben as far as being a favorite. Anytime a rider has their own voice out there, and especially with that 360 look back, you can see Ben Wallace right there talking to the coach, Jamie Bestwick, one of the most celebrated vert ramp riders of all time, actively riding, and he is giving his expertise and his experience to the UK team.
Yeah, which Jamie's very knowledgeable in so many different areas, and you know it shows in his career with all the dominance he's had. But we're going to move along right now.
Got the air in the tire. This is Eric Reisev coming out for his second run. Let's see if he can keep the tires rolling this time.
360 triple tail whip, so he's leading off from where he went off last time with the flat tire.
Now he's in new uncharted territory of his run. We saw him get the redemption for the first 15 seconds. Let's see what he's got for the final 45.
Yeah, he's using the course really well right now with this 360 double downside whip on the spine, transferring across with the 3-whip to old school no-hander, which is very difficult. Bar spin and no-hander in the quarter.
Oh, backwards.
Double tail whip going backwards, Darryl. That's
backwards.
huge.
We want to emphasize that. The margin of error is increased. Your landing is super steep right there.
Tuck, bar spin to tuck no-hander. Truck 450 across the hip. Old school no-hander in the 10-foot. He's got 10 seconds on the clock. What's he got for us, Darryl?
Nice rodeo cowboy toboggan going up the spine. He's got time for a final thought. Let's see if it's a loud one. Double tail whip coming down and around. Another full run there for one of our riders, but the first full run we saw out of Eric Reisev, his first run of a 40.80, that will definitely be the throwaway when we get ready to look down the runs of the riders. Yeah. So cool to see coming out. Now, Steve, I got to ask you this. You've competed for, I believe, close to 2 decades, right?
Yeah, I competed for a long time, that's for sure.
So you have a lot of experience out there. How much when a rider, or even yourself, has bike maintenance problems in the first run, can that throw your game off?
You know, this sort of stuff happens to anyone. You know, you get a flat tire, but he came back and redeemed himself with this 360 triple tail whip right there that we watch on the box. You know, and these guys are all professionals as he double tail whips the box backwards. Just absolutely flawless. You know, it didn't phase him that he got a flat tire in his first run. He just came back, as you can see here, just double tail whipping going down the spine. Just great riding, Dale. Really good riding.
I mean, Russia has been letting it rip with that 360 tail whip to tuck no-hander. Now, the thing that we just want to highlight, since this is part of the qualifying process for the Olympics, it really comes down to essentially the last few seconds of your run. What I mean by that, the judges know that if you're here, you made it to the finals, you could do the big tricks, you can blast really high, you can put together a run. But they want to see, does a rider not get lost out there? And we talk about this, saying, hey, I know what I'm going to do beginning to end. I can land confidently, I can charge through it, and I can make it count. The judges who you could see in our panel, they're all lifetime riders. Much like yourself, they've been competing for many years. Both of you and I have rode with many of these guys out there.
So as we watch the score come in at 81.4, it's not going to be enough to put him on the podium right now, but, you know, he should, hats off to him. He put together a phenomenal run, and
it's going to put him in 4th place currently, which is not too shabby at all being up there, but still Justin Dowell 92.20, Jake Woolwork in 2nd, and Daniel Sandoval in 1st. Well, we saw him have difficulty. He pulled what we call the Baba Booey when you mess up on your first trick, but looking to be focused. Again, he's been on top of almost every single podium in BMX, with the exception of having the coveted UCI rainbow jersey. I know he'd love to have that on and looking to get in that mental zone. Let's see if he winds up changing his approach out here or if he still puts all the chips in the table going for that triple whip.
I'm guessing that Daniel just puts all the chips in this basket right now. He's here to try and take home a world championship. That's what you're here for. He's not changing anything.
So that is going to hopefully be his approach.
There it is, Darryl. He's on as he goes into the 10-foot and does a bar spin. What's he got on the hip? Opposite bar spin. Heads up to the top of the course.
Wall tap, turning back in, setting up.
Front flip.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Double D was going for it, Daryl. He was going for it.
He really was. Big ups to Daniel Dares. Talk about putting all the chips in the table. You can see he's in some pain. We're going to give Daniel some time to get checked out. But let's talk about this strategy out here. I do hope Daniel's okay. But he did put all the chips in the table. I got to give Daniel Dares props because I talk about him a lot of times as being a very strategic rider. Yeah. He'll sometimes say, hey, I don't even want to use the word safe, but do the tricks I'm very confident in, break it down on my first run, and then the second run, he usually turns it up a few notches. Yeah. This was beginning to end. Look at this trick right here.
It's a 360 triple tail whip, and he's transferring across the course, making it really hard. You know, Daniel, I haven't seen Daniel kind of ride like this for a couple of years now. He really obviously wanted to win. He's so talented, has so many tricks, as we're going to watch right here with the front flip. Daniel used to do this 100 times a day when I rode with him, and he had it perfect. You know, this is a lot different because you're going down such a big drop in elevation. You know, as you can see, he landed perfect, but he fell an extra like 10 feet compared to what he usually would.
Yeah, he didn't land as high up there. Now, one thing to note for some of our newer riders out here, Daniel was actually one of the first riders to start front flipping spines. I remember when he exploded out onto the scene. Thankfully, he's up. He's getting awarded with a big round of applause from fellow riders in the crowd here in Chengdu.
Yeah.
But he exploded on the scene, and one of the first riders, and he actually, when he flips, he almost goes sideways. So it looks so exciting. You're like, where is he going? And then he straightens back out. So it's unfortunate that he went down on a trick that he's done a lot in the past. That's the first time I saw him attempt to flip this spine.
Yeah, no, it was. Daniel actually changed the way people rode back in the day, and people had to step up to his game. Anyway, moving on, we have Justin Dow.
Yeah, a rider right now who is making everybody change their game. This is our current leader with a score in the 90s, 92.20. Let's see if Justin Dowell changes his approach out here.
Wow, as he does that 450 tail up to bar spin. Alley-oop flare in the quarter pipe.
We are seeing a totally different run out here. This is cool to see. So he got what you would call earlier your dream run done. Now, what do you think the strategy is for Dowell right now?
I think he's probably upping everything right now. This will probably be his dream run. After pulling everything in his first run, watch a 360 look back on the box jump. Late bar spin.
All right, so
he's calling it.
That was going to be his approach. I don't think he threw down that first run. In my opinion, that was a flawless run for him. So he had nowhere to go up maybe in that aspect.
Well, yeah, you could look at it like that, but you could also look at it like, let's hope he doesn't come to a tiebreaker situation, and the second run is the one that they look at for the tiebreaker.
It's a very good point that you make, but right now, Dowell putting down that big run.
Yeah, huge run, and so amazing to watch. Look at this, 540 or 450 tail whip on the hip to bar spin. There's not many people that you'll catch doing that in a contest scenario. An alley-oop flare on the hip.
And the reason it's called the 450 because it's over a hip. 360 would be a full spin, throw a 90 degrees on there, and you get that 450. Look how quick that is.
Yeah.
Another rider who does the 360 look back. We talk about style. The reason he's able to do that is his foot placement, his non-traditional foot placement for a 360 spin. Ben Wallace does a similar trick, but you saw the two different styles. Wallace definitely had that big nosedive, kicked his back end up, got the height over the spine with the big boost, and we see Dowell take a little bit of a different approach where his bike is level, but he gets the full extension on that tweaked 270 turn down look back out there.
And I mean, he's got a huge score right there with the 92. I know he's happy, and we'll just have to see how it holds up moving forward to the later guys.
So the guy we were just talking about with that 360 look back up to the sky, he had a huge first run, and unfortunately right at the finish as the buzzer went off, crashed. Looking to get another flawless run, minus that crash, is the Mongoose rider of Ben Wallace.
And if anyone can do it, he can. As he comes towards the hips with a massive old school no-hander, so turn down up to the top portion of the course.
Wallace's first run was a 60.80. Ooh, that was beautiful style. It shows you how much the judges are deducting
360
for a crash.
turn down to tail whip. That's a huge trick right there. As he wall rides across the entire hip section.
Wallace setting up in the berm, 30 seconds. Cannonball, grabbing that seat, taking the feet off.
Yeah, and Ben's really putting it together again. Completely different to his first run, too, which I love.
That alley-oop X-up was so smooth.
Turn down flare right there. Into a fast plan X-up.
No hander over that extended spine. He's got 12 seconds. Let's see. Come on, Wallace, 540.
10 seconds on the clock.
All eyes are on Wallace. Let's see if he can put it together here. Double tail whip. This is the moment that matters.
There it is.
Yes, Wallace getting it done. You see the excitement for UK's Ben Wallace as the crowd goes absolutely crazy here in Chengdu.
There is no better feeling in the world than pulling the run that you set out to do, especially after crashing in your first run. Coming back, being the success of your own output.
Yeah, we talk about his first run was that 60.80, so he had a big first run with only that crash at the end, and his score was deducted that heavy. It just shows you what's expected from the judges and how heavily penalized you are if you wind up having that crash. Wallace, run number 2, comes back at us. Look at this. That is style right there. 360 X up to toboggan. But the way that he even tweaked his bars out, and look at that, going for the 360 look back to downside tail whip is such a great combo. No one else is able to even think of that trick because, again, his non-traditional rotation with his 360 foot placement sets up his leg to wind up clearing the seat looking backwards. Only a few riders in BMX really rotate and get that pop. Mike Aiken was one of them. And right now, Ben Wallace putting down a big, big run, but hopefully a big, big score will reflect that.
Yeah, as we can see, he's just catching his breath right here. Massive run. I'm so happy for Ben, and having the family here to watch him, the husband, his wife, and then his daughter as well. It's so awesome.
Wallace is winded out there, a sign that he's definitely put it all out on the line. I know that Richard King and also Jamie Bestwick, 2 people of the UK Cycling Federation, are here to give the support as we zoom in on Marcus Wilke out there.
Yeah, now where will they put him? That's the big question right now. I'm sure everyone's kind of sitting there wondering and hoping for a good score.
Yeah, that score to beat is a 92.20, currently held by United States Justin Dowell. We are going to wait to see an 86.20, so that's going to put Wallace in 3rd right now. It's going to bump Daniel Sandoval down, and Ben Wallace will be in that 3rd spot, potential podium, but we still have the 4 highest qualifying riders yet to take the course. Anything can change, so let's take a look. USA, Australia, Great Britain, Dowell, Walworth, and Wallace. 92, 88.6, and 86.2 are your top 3 scores and countries.
Yeah, and I think this next group of riders is going to be really exciting to watch. As we watch the highlight reel, the truck to bar spin, 360 triple tail whip. Wow. Daniel Durs with the alley-oop 360 triple tail whip. Just a huge, huge trick.
Yeah, the fact that Daniel was just suspended in air until the millisecond before he landed right there, putting his feet back on the pedal, shows you the commitment. Same thing with a lot of these tricks, like that bar spin right there. In real time, you only have a split second to throw the bars around. Look at that Twix. That's where you basically do a tail whip and a bar spin at the same time. Dowell's definitely one of the riders who utilizes as light gear on his bike as possible. Most riders out there have titanium spokes, titanium spindles, and titanium parts, so that not only do they have that strength out there when they're riding, but also that lightness. It's helped increase the basic progression of BMX, where you're seeing a lot of riders able to air higher on quarter pipes because they're not losing that flex in their wheels, but you're also seeing that more hang time to quickly throw some of those tricks in there.
Yeah, I think everyone's riding with so much authority right now. I think that's probably the best word for it.
Well, let's take a look. Top 4 riders who have yet to go. Again, these were the biggest names in our semifinal. James Jones, Kenneth Tencio, Brandon Lupos, and your number 1 qualifier, Nick Bruce. So UK is going to be our first rider representative out there. James Jones has exploded onto the international scene. He definitely has made a statement here in qualifying and in our semifinals. Everybody right now is on their feet getting excited to watch James Jones along with you and myself. I got to say, he is such an exciting rider to bring the heat into our final.
I love watching this guy ride. He's probably one of my new favorite guys to watch. He has the biggest flares in the business. As we watch him drop in right now with a 360 double tail whip to kick it off, as he pedals towards the 10-foot. What's he got? The massive flare bar spin, Daryl.
Wow.
I can't even emphasize how high he was there and doing that trick.
James Jones is basically a vert ramp rider out here. That's an 11-foot quarter, and he was at full height out there. I know Jamie Bestwick, the UK BMX coach, is definitely giving some pointers out there as he is dominating the vert quarter pipes and going for a foot jam on that hitching post. Talk about threading the needle with precision, finding that front wheel right on top of that wooden post.
Yeah, Daryl, he is on right now as he does a 360 downside whip across the box and heads up to the top portion of the course.
Keeping it together right there. Talk about wild style as he transfers with the downside 360 tail whip, kicking it across the channel. He's got 6 seconds. Come on, James. No-hander. Let's see what he's going to pull in. Final thought. Disaster to a tail whip. Yeah.
Wow. And he pulls it too, Daryl. So here's an interesting thing. I spoke to him before the contest started, and he told me a little bit about the mentality when he pedals towards to do that huge flare bar spin. He said some people may think that, you know, I'm going too fast, but he thinks if I take one more crank, I'll land perfect.
That is insane right there. That's almost some Morgan Wade logic, right?
Yeah.
Morgan Wade, you guys all know, as one of the riders to go highest on the big air ramp as far as a quarter pipe goes, a 23-foot ramp. But this is right now James Jones bringing it to the largest quarter pipe here at our contest. Look at the height on that. That was a flare bar spin too. If that was just a regular air, Steve, that would have been just a regular, the biggest air we've seen so far of the contest.
The mental challenges you go through when you're pedaling at a quarter pipe to do a trick like that are huge.
Now,
you know,
Steve, I got to interrupt for a moment because you're a very talented vert ramp rider. You actually have done a no-handed 900, which is insane to think about.
As we watched,
how does that translate being almost a vert obstacle in the park?
well, I mean, I understand how all these guys think and the mentality it takes and the difficulty of all these tricks. You know, it's something that it's really hard to explain. But all I can say is, like, you go through mental challenges with yourself when you do these massive tricks. And sometimes, like, you know, you have a perfect speed you go at things, and that's why I wanted to mention that. He thinks differently. He's like, if I take one more crank, I'm going to pull this, and it's going to be better. Like, whereas other people think, maybe I should slow down a little bit. He has the opposite mentality.
Thinks, let me tap my brakes a little bit. I'm coming into a huge 11-foot tall wall. But James Jones is not like many other riders. That is why he's at the UCI Urban Cycling World Championship final.
Yeah,
as we wait for his score to come in.
He's a huge new talent, and we are happy to host him here at the Chengdu World Championships.
Again, the score is 1 to 100. We are about to find out which rider is going to be rolling away with the coveted UCI rainbow jersey. Our defending champ, Logan Martin, unfortunately is not here. He's home with an injury. Logan, we can't wait to see you back in competition. We were just as gutted as you were that you were not here today. Sending you much love back home to Australia. I know that you would love to be out here on the course, and I know that you are plotting your return, an 81.60. So his score is going to be down in 5th place right there.
Yeah, that's not what I was expecting, but that's why we're not judges, Daryl. I think we got a little bit excited. But it's just amazing riding, and it's so much fun to watch all these guys out here competing and throwing down.
Well, Steve, as we get ready to watch Kenneth Tencio, why do you think his score might have been a little bit lower?
I'm not 100% sure. Like, that's why I'm not a judge. But, you know, it was just flawless riding, and it was great to see. Maybe the combinations weren't as hard as some of these other runs. But we're going to watch right now as Kenneth drops in. And Kenneth has the biggest tricks in the business. And you can see the mentality as he starts his run off with a flare drop in.
Wow, that was huge extension with his body tweaking it out over the spine on that 360 flip. Look at that, Tencio, Superman seat grab, twisting the bars for an X-up, I believe. Tencio, the Costa Rican, coming up, downside double tail whip, slipping a little bit of a pedal there. That's what we want to note, is how is that pedal slip up going to affect this run? I believe with James Jones's run, he had that boggle up on top of the quarter pipe with that fast plant coming in, and I think that's what potentially affected his score to that great degree. But Tensio right now on course as he goes up and over the spine with the backflip double tail whip, known as the helicopter. Wow, Tensio let the bike
grab 360. Yeah, as he goes in 450s the hip. Tensio is on fire right now. He really puts things together in a unique way. He has a send-it mentality, and it's showing right now, and he is putting it together with that flare tail whip to end his run, Daryl.
There you go. Tensio is excited, ecstatic, and making Costa Rica proud. You can see his homeland just emblazoned on the back of his t-shirt out there as he put down that huge run beginning to end. Look at that big drop in with that flip coming in off the subwall. I love the extension on that 360 flip, and I know he didn't take limbs off, but the extension was of his body. It's got to be a good feeling. You're in the finals, and Steve, you wind up getting that first run down. He did have a little bit of a boggle with his foot coming off. We saw how that affected James Jones's run, but let's walk us through some of these highlights.
Yeah, that flare drop in right there definitely puts a stamp on the run. Straight into the 360 backflip over the spine, mind you. It's a pretty hard trick to do with a very small gap. And then he leads into the box jump with a truck driver to downside tail whip. Now, Tensio, like, it's important to note, Tensio put things back to back, and they were very big tricks. As we watch here with the double downside whip, slipping a little bit of a pedal, but didn't quite touch the ground. An alley-oop 360 double tail whip, and then the backflip double tail whip down the spine. Now, that's massive, and he continues it.
Yeah, the continuation is the important thing because he's in control. Look at this, so much going on. He utilizes his upper body to winding up the back end, and look how cleanly he landed the pedals.
And this trick is one of my favorite. The 360 Superman seat grab. There's not many people out there that do that trick, and if they do, it's very inconsistent.
And originally invented by Jay Miron, and now you're seeing Tensio throw that down after that backflip double tail whip. So we saw James Jones' score potentially affected by slipping that pedal coming in off the vert wall. That was the same actual section of the course that we saw that pedal slip by Kenneth Tensio, as the crowd right now is showing their love and support for the Costa Rican as he is poached up on top of that ramp to wait for his score coming in.
Yeah, it's exciting times for Kenneth, and I'm hoping, and I'm sure he's hoping, and all of Costa Rica is hoping right now that he is going to have a huge score.
Yeah, the big number is what you want. Anything higher than a 92.2 will put you in that top spot. But Ben Wallace sitting in third with an 86.20 on podium. So Ben Wallace trying to hold on to one of the top 3 spots for Great Britain.
My fellow Aussies holding strong in second place right there.
Yeah, very impressive. Jake Woolwork in second. He was the first rider to go, and his first run score is doing very big things out there. This is a nail-biting moment for Tensio. Not only is he winded, but you see him putting his hand on his chest because he rode with all heart, and he's showing his love for Costa Rica.
It's nail-biting for us too here in the booth because we are excited for him. It's not often you get to see him put all of his tricks together in one run.
So let's see, 88.90. Wow, he is going to move into that second spot.
Yeah.
So Jake Woolwork is going to get bumped back into third, and that means Ben Wallace is going to move just outside of potential podium.
Yeah, that was a huge run, and I'm excited for him right now. And the funny thing is, I know he's got more in the tank. And if he did get docked for that double tail whip with a foot slipping, he has more to offer in his next run.
Yeah, we're going to see the strategy that comes out of him for run number 2. But right now, the first time that we are seeing to the course coming from Sydney, Australia.
Now, Brandon Lupos has so much in the tank. It is just, what is he going to do? I love watching Brandon ride. I'm a huge fan. Not just because I'm Australian, but because Brandon is one of the best in the business, and we're about to see it right now. Backflip, double tail whip down the spine, a cash roll over the box to start, a triple tail whip over the 10-foot to 10-foot. He hits the hip.
3 combinations in a row. Lupos keeping the momentum rolling, 15 seconds down as Lupos transfers up with the bar spin.
Yeah, now he heads back into the bottom portion of the course with a 360 transfer flip. We haven't seen anyone do that yet. A double downside whip, so he's showing that he can go both ways. An old school hander over the box, a tail whip backwards over the small box, a flare, He's on fire right now.
Lupos
Truck back the other way.
in the zone, charging back. Let's see what he's going to do. No-hander, opposite direction over the channel. 540 flare. Come on, Lupos, landing smooth. Wall ride, checking in with the wall as he comes back with the no-hander. Transition to transition, 3 seconds to go. Enough time to squeak in a final thought. And a Towet flare, and he pulls it. Wow. Lupos, though, did touch down his foot at the end there, and we are seeing the strict accountability for the judges.
Yeah, well, let's not say that too loud as they're sitting next to us. But, you know, I think like it's important to mention that Lupos just put together a phenomenal run. From start to finish, he had huge tricks. And the crazy thing is, Dale, I know he's got more in the tank. And, you know, coming into his second run, I know he's going to throw down. But look at that, a huge backflip double tail up on the spine. Super hard to do. Into a cash roll. We haven't seen many guys putting combinations like that together.
Now, Steve, the fact that we had those 3 tricks back to back to back, that increases the difficulty when you don't have any dead walls out there, because it shows how smoothly you're able to land back on your feet and set up for tricks.
And that alley-oop 360 flip from the hitching post to the box was huge as well. You know, all these things like come into a factor when you're trying to put a score on the board. You have a 540 flare right here towards the end of his run, and then a tail whip flare to end the thing. Oh yeah, so he did put a foot down pretty heavily.
And you could see by his face right there, he was definitely disappointed putting that foot down.
You can't be disappointed, when you put runs like that together. I think, you know, that's just a minor little hiccup in his run. For a guy as good as Brandon Lupos, I'm sure we're going to see him clean that up in his second run.
Yeah, well, we saw James Jones heavily penalized for that same thing and that same feature of the course of putting that foot down. The difference is it was at the end of his run, but what we also saw from the first run of Ben Wallace, he had that crash at the very end of his run as well, and that heavily impacted his score.
Yeah.
I believe he got a 60.80 for a trick at the buzzer like that. Obviously, that wasn't a crash. It's a very impressive trick, but the standard is upped. We have our UCI head delegate, Bart de Jong, out there, and he wants to make sure that these are Olympic standards as we move towards Tokyo 2020.
Yeah, definitely. So I think moving forward, like, Brandon will clean that up, and he'll be back. He's a true champion. He's someone that we all love to watch. And as he waits for the score to come in, we're about to find out if they noticed what happened.
Yeah, these are the moments. So Jake Woolwork, your Aussie brother up there in third. Hopefully Brandon Lupos could be a second Aussie and potential podium. Again, it's USA Justin Dowell in top, Croatian Kenneth Tencio sitting in second, and right now Jake Woolwork in third. We talk about it nonstop, but I'm going to branch it in again. The best run format that counts. It is brand new this year, and it's been offering some very exciting riding for strategy because it comes down to the last moments. Taking a shot right there, that is superstar Caroline Buchanan sitting with Nikita Ducaro. She unfortunately injured her hand just before the competition. If you're wondering why we did not see her in the highlights of the women's event, so unfortunate. Right beforehand, moments before we started, she wound up having an injury to her hand. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, and she'll be back getting ready to wind up trying to rack up as many points as possible for Australia.
There you go. So as the score comes in, we have an 88.72. putting him into third place.
Wow.
Unfortunately, knocking Jake off the podium, but, you know, good for Brandon. He put an amazing run together, and we round out the podium with Justin Dow, Kenneth Tencio, and Brandon Lupos in third right now.
Well, right now, the USA rider known as Nick Bruce, he was our top qualifier, had the biggest score, and last year he had the biggest run, but because it was the overall approach format, was not able to get the top spot. So let's see what Nick Bruce can do right now as his 60 seconds starts.
Backflip tail whip dropping into the spine. A 360 windshield wiper. Oh, unfortunately.
Wow, landing almost side saddle right there, somehow keeping it together. And right there, you see it just slip through his fingers on that 360 tabletop, hanging up over the spine. So that is very unfortunate for Nick Bruce. He's going to wind up waving it off. He knows the format, he knows the rules, and he knows he needs a big run.
Yeah, that's such a shame, Darryl, because he was riding like this at such a high level. His intensity, his skills, everything Nick does is just so precise, and you know, as we see him just finishing out the end of his run with a huge flare over the 10-foot to 10-foot. You know, but you know, we saw this happen to him in his semi-final. He had a crash, came back, and put the biggest score on the board of the contest.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this format, right? Everybody's traveling from around the world to all of our UCI events, but specifically coming here to our UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Championship, where they're looking to put it on the line. And if you wind up having a mess up, right, you have 60 seconds to get it done. And if you wind up doing that, you do have that other opportunity. So we're looking at right here, wrapping around 360 downside tail whip. And Nick Bruce was not able to just get it done. He had that side saddle. Thankfully, he didn't crash. I mean, even though he didn't go down, that could definitely put a lot of torque on your body if you're landing and maybe wind up having parts of your body or your seat stick into you. But I'm just happy that he didn't go down, and he will have the opportunity for a second run.
Yeah, I always say that, like, people have no idea how hard these tricks are until you've tried them. You know, so much work goes in at home before you come to an event like this. So much pain and suffering goes into learning these things as well.
I mean, it's definitely a love-hate relationship when you're trying these tricks on your BMX bike, that's for sure.
It is. You definitely second-guess yourself sometimes when you're learning things like this. And Nick he comes back swinging every time.
And then to have the pressure to deliver, right? You might wake up that day. Imagine how many days you wake up and you go, I don't feel like going into work today, right? And imagine then having to do this on the main stage, right?
Yeah, but we do it because we love it. And next up we have...
Right now is James Jones. He is sitting there with an 81.60. We know that James Jones can step it up as he is currently...
He does a backflip bar spin to tuck no hander, pedaling towards the quarter pipe. Huge flare whip. Oh my God, that was the biggest flare whip we've seen in the whole contest. Bar spin to tuck no hander. He is here to make some moves. As we
transfer all the way up, a lot of speed, no-handed three with great style. Look how smooth coming in. Yes.
Tail whip to old school no hander on the wall ride. What's he got?
Bar spin to foot jam up on the hitching post. That was insane. Precision right there. He put his foot right in the front tire to find that balance point.
And over the box backwards, he does a truck to old school no-hander. That is so technical and hard. As he does a nose bump to no-hander, coming back down.
Looking to align his sights, that 360 downside tail whip, kicking it across the channel, the downside tail whip. Come on, James Jones, no-hander, doing it for British Cycling. Let's go, final moment, disaster, tail whip to pedals this time, very clean at the end.
Now that is going to give the judges something to think about because he pulled everything perfect in that run. And he upped it, he did the bar spin to foot jam on the hitching post, and he connected everything so well.
Yeah, now look, we're going to talk about the technical tricks here, right? A lot of the riders can wind up working maybe at home on a trick that they would throw over the box jump. You basically know what the ramp's going to feel like in the air. When you come to a course like this and you have a feature that's unique, like that hitching post in the middle, you really can't practice that too much at home because the transition of the ramp, you're not fully sure, you're not sure of the distance, and up top is very technical and balanced.
So the cherry on the cake is going to be tricks like that. The flare whip at probably 10 feet. You got an old school no-hander here on the spine. And then as he heads into the box jump, he does a 360 tail whip to old school no-hander. Now, everything had perfect execution. Now, this could be the game changer of his whole run. The bar spin to foot jam on the hitching post. There's no one out here in this contest that has used that rail like that.
Yeah, most riders didn't even touch it, and here's the disaster to tail whip. But I do want to give a special shout. We saw earlier in the program Nina Butrago, one of our female women who went up and wound up double peg stalling it. We saw how well that impacted her score. So right there you see Richard King down there, part of the British cycling team, offering this support to all of the British riders as we wait for score to come in. You see on the other side, Jamie Bestwick down there, and also Jack Clark, who was riding in the competition but did not make it to finals, along with UK's Declan Brooks.
And if I know Jamie Bestwick, I know that he would have been in his ear telling him to go big. And, you know, the score comes in at 84.6. Probably not what he was thinking, but, you know, at the same time, just a huge run. You know, some of the things that he did in his run, he should be really proud of, and I think Great Britain should be proud to have him on the team as well.
So right now, Dowell holding strong, only rider in the 90s, 92.20. Brandon Lupos, Australia in second, 88.72. And Aussie boy Jake Woolwork with an 88.60 in there.
Yeah. It's shaping up to be a pretty amazing contest now, isn't it? We've got Kenneth Tencio up next, and we're going to continue the madness.
Yeah, and this could come down to the last run, which we actually saw in the women's contest where Paris Benenguez earned top honors and the rainbow jersey down to the wire. Again, best run format that counts. Let's see what Kenneth Tencio from Croatia has got for run 2.
He's got the eye of the tiger right now, and it's for good reason. With tricks like this, the backflip drop in, 360 flip over the spine, and into the bar spin to downside 360 tail whip. That's huge. And he does a Superman C-grab tail whip. Double bar spin. Wow, he was really on the heat of this then. He was upping everything he did, and it's unfortunate that he went down on that double bar spin over the hitching post.
Wow, so Tencio falling. His first run was an 88.90. I stand corrected, he's currently in second place with that score.
Look at that.
Big one.
He just did a 720 over the hip.
Tencio showing you that he is a rider that has his skills dialed.
And this is what I love about this guy. He goes back out there after a crash and he finishes off his run. Doesn't matter. He's here to put on a show for the fans. Give the fans what they want, Darryl. That's what I always say.
Yeah, well, you definitely have that experience. You know what the people want. As being an 8 times X Games medalist yourself.
You give the people what they want, Darryl. I learned that from Travis Pastrana. You just give them what they want.
Well, Tencio's definitely winning some big fans out here, not only in Chengdu, but I know around the world as we are being broadcast out there. So Tencio having some difficulties. Again, Dowell in the lead for USA, Costa Rican in second with his first score as we look at some highlights from run 2.
Yeah, the 360 flip over the spine there. Huge trick into this bar spin, 360 to downside whip. Another massive trick and combination that he put into his run. As he heads towards the 10, as he does this bar spin flare right here.
And naturally, his first run score will be the higher of the two. That crash, there's no way to up his impressive score of the 88.90. But one thing to note, Dowell is currently in lead for United States with that 92 score, but only 2 riders remain, and 2 riders could potentially change the game. Australians Brandon Lupos and United States Nick Bruce.
Yeah.
We saw it in our female class. Paris Benenguez came in the last and final run and switched up the entire order of the whole run.
Yeah, she didn't fold under the pressure at all, and it was so impressive to watch, and my hat goes off to her. But right now we have Brandon Lupos coming back to the starting grid, and I'm excited for this one. He knows what he needs to do to win. He knows what he needs to do to up his score, and it's coming.
Lupos is focused. Sydney, Australia, grew up riding the Monster Park in Sydney.
He looks like he's ready. Backflip, double tail whip to start his run out with a cash roll. So much speed going into the quarter pipe. Double tail whip across the 10-foot to 10-foot, and he's putting it together again. Triple tail whip.
What? 3 tail whips around. That is insane. 4 big hits going up with the bar spin 2 times. Right now, Lupos charging. Wow. Slipping a pedal right there as he does that off-axis 720, somewhere between a 360 flip transfer. Lupos looking solid, 25 seconds to go.
540 flare. He's really putting it together. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I think it wouldn't have mattered too much anyway because he slipped a pedal on the 360 flip transfer. But, you know, Brandon was here to try and win, and he did exactly that. He put all the biggest tricks he could into his run, and that's all you can do, Darryl, when you come to these events. Leave nothing on the table. There is nothing worse than going home and knowing that you didn't try your absolute hardest and put your biggest tricks into your run. As we watch the entire Australian team give him hugs, all the boys down there are just psyched for him, and you know, I'm sure go back to the drawing board, and Brandon is going to be one to look out for moving forward into the 2020 Olympics. He's going to be a guy looking for one of those elusive spots.
You see Brandon Lupos also getting some support from Wade Boots.
As we watch on the replay here, doing a backflip double tail whip into the cash roll. He had so much height and speed coming into that thing.
Now, Steve, what happened
Look
here?
at that.
Break down, like, what as far as his game plan went.
Well, I think his game plan was on point, and then he made that one little slip up, and he was probably thinking, wow, it's right in front of the judges. You know, with that triple tail whip he did there on the quarter, the 540 flare here, you know, he really had an amazing run going. Unfortunately, they expect the highest level of riding in all these runs, and the judges are here to make you accountable for that. But he gets an 88.72. Oh, no, sorry, a 50.5 in his second
Well, the
run.
88.72 was his first run score. He's still sitting a potential podium spot. He is in third. Justin Dowell is in first for USA at 92.20. There is one rider who could potentially change the game. He is our #1 qualifier from the United States. He had the highest score in the semifinal. He is focused. He is ready. This is Nick Bruce.
He is the U.S. hopeful, and for good reason. With tricks like this, backflip tail whip down the spine, does the windshield wiper, so he's not shying away from what happened in his first run with the crash.
So
into
Bruce,
the hip,
focused as he wall rides, wall to wall, coast to coast out there, charging with the flare, going up.
Oh no! Yeah, I mean, Nick was here to win. He was taking big risks, and unfortunately, it didn't pay off for him this time. But that's why I love Nick. He doesn't shy away from trying to win. He's going to go down there, and he's going to thank the rest of the boys that that did well in the contest this weekend. We have Justin Dow that takes the win, Kenneth Tencio, and Brandon Lupos on the podium. You know, notables to mention would be Jake Warwick, Ben Wallace, James Jones. Every single one of these guys threw down this contest and made a huge impact.
Wow, what an exciting moment right there. You see Team USA also with Daniel Dares pumping up your 2018 UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Champion, Justin Dowell. He gets top honors, bragging rights, and also the UCI coveted rainbow jersey that he is going to be able to wear loud and proud for the next year at any UCI event if he chooses to. What a cool moment. So disappointing for Nick Bruce out there. 36.40, that score is not going to put him on the podium. Nick Bruce, much respect. Unfortunately, finished top in our semifinal, weren't able to put it together in the final.
Yeah, and it's so cool to see all the guys down there in their USA jerseys and all the team jerseys for that matter from all the countries around the world. You see Rob Darden working in there. He's the China head coach, doing a great job over there. Yeah, it's just all these guys threw down this weekend, and I can't stress enough that, like, moments like this don't happen very often when it all comes together and you walk away with a win.
Yeah, this is a great moment, and this is a big moment because our Olympic qualifying process started last weekend. We had our UCI World Cup go down here in Chengdu, China. Points will be going towards the qualifying for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. But this event in particular is huge. And look at the win. USA on top. Justin Dowell, 92.2. Croatia getting represented very well by Kenneth Tencio with an 88.90. And the Aussie Brandon Lupos holding strong with an 88.72. Just behind him, Australia's Jake Walwork, followed by UK's Ben Wallace, UK's James Jones, USA's Daniel Sandoval, and Russia, Eric Ryzev up there. Wow, so USA, Croatia, and Australia are your top 3 finishes. And it looks like USA in men and women's are going to get the coveted jersey. In women's, we had Paris Benenguez, and now we have Justin Dowell.
Yeah, it's such a huge moment for all these guys, and Team USA really dominated here at the UCI Urban Cycling World Championships. What can I say? Hats off to them, right?
Yeah, I mean, much respect also to Alex Nicolin, Jeremy Mallet, Nick Bruce, and Daniel Dares. I got to give a lot of respect to Daniel Dares. I love the fact that he put it all on the line. He didn't play it safe out here. He could have just came out and sandbagged and did a couple of tricks that he already knows he's going to do. Big respect to you, Daniel Dares, for pushing it through. Let's take a look. Steve, please break down some of the insanity that we just saw out here.
Yeah, so I have right there the bar spin truck to tail whip to bar spin. Huge trick right there. Look back in the 10-foot to 10-foot. And then we have another look back on the other hip. With the Twix. The tail whip, seat grab, bar spin. Just huge. 360 look back on the hip. Heads straight into the other hip with a 270 bar spin. And then he does the transfer 360 tail whip to look back. Just a massive run.
What a cool moment down here. We are going to catch up with our winner, Justin Dowell, in a few moments as we wind up locating him in the excitement down on the course as he is talking with all other Team USA riders getting cheered on. Yeah, we have our 2018 UCI Urban Cycling World Championships just completed. What a magic moment, Steve.
Yeah, what an exciting moment for him. He's going to receive the yellow jersey, and he's going to be the new world champion. What a moment.
Really special. So we've had all of our riders out here. The fact that BMX Freestyle has grown, but let's catch in right now with Justin Dowell.
Justin, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're just 18 years old and you're world champion today.
I'm so excited. I can't even believe this. I came in here qualified 6th, and I just wanted to get to the top 3. And I just did my dream run, and everybody kept getting closer and closer. But in the end, I came up on top, and I just can't believe it.
This year you've been traveling a lot. You've been working a lot. You want it so badly.
I've been in Europe literally all year. I've been only home a month, and just training, riding different parks is very important. When people ride the same skate park every day, they get used to those ramps. But when you ride all over the place, you can ride anything when it comes up time.
You needed just one run, actually, with 92 points. Bring us a bit inside that run.
Well, in qualifying, I did the same line with less tricks, and then the next day, do a little bit more, and then finals, just put it all on the line. The line actually ended perfectly on time, so I knew that was the one that I had to do. So just do bigger tricks, and I can't believe it all worked out. And then in my second run, I didn't even want to drop in again because I already did the run I wanted to. So I just rode around and just sucked in the moment, and it's just awesome. I'm stoked.
Paris won in the women's final. You did right after, so the US did a clean sweep today. That's amazing for your team.
Team USA, man. I gotta say thank you to Team USA for all the support, for getting me out here. Freaking best team in the world, best country in the world. I'm stoked for next year. It's time to get the Olympics going, baby.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Justin. Cheers. Thank you.
There you have it, some words of wisdom from our 2018 UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Champion, Team USA's Justin Dowell. Big moment for him, the young gun coming all the way from Virginia Beach. When all of our riders were said and done, Justin Dowell on top, the only rider to break into the 90s with a 92.20. He had so much riding, so much action go down within his run. He was consistent, he wound up flowing, and he wound up making it happen here in Chengdu. We got a lot of highlights coming our way of our top 3 riders to check out and basically give a visual recap of what went down here. But I got to tell you, this was such a cool moment. The excitement for BMX Freestyle as a whole as we move forward towards the Olympics. We're going to have our podiums coming up in just a few moments, so you obviously don't want to go anywhere as we wind up giving out the coveted rainbow jerseys to our women and men's athletes out here.
Yeah, what a special moment that's going to be. And you know, just a huge weekend in here for all the guys in Chengdu, China. I think every country did such a phenomenal job of, you know, bringing their athletes, having their coaches on the sidelines, and, you know, here we go towards the podium right now. There's Kenneth Tencio in second place. Look at the smile on his face right now, Daryl. He is so happy. You know, he's one of those guys that's hit and miss. He's either going to go down swinging and come out with a win or a podium, or he's going to miss it altogether.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with you're going to ride with your heart on the line. Now, Steve, I want to ask you as being a competitor as well, when a competition is going on and you have something as special as the UCI rainbow jersey, how important is that as we take a look at some of the highlights of our men's review?
Yeah, here we're looking at Brandon Lupos with that massive backflip double tail up into a cash roll, putting on a huge display of just precision BMX. A 360 backflip over the spine by Canatensio. Straight into the box jump with a truck driver to downside tail whip. Yeah, it was runs and tricks like this that gave Tensio the edge to put him on the podium. Huge double downside tail whip onto the wall. Backflip, double bar spin over the spine. And then the truck driver to tail whip to bar spin out. Now that was a huge trick. A look back in the 10 foot to 10 foot. Look back over the other hip. And into the Twix, his signature trick. Yeah, Justin Dow really put on a massive display of dominance this weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, let's take a look here. Dowell 360 clicking that look back, but that Twix definitely, he's the only rider who did that. That is the tail whip bar spin. And look at this magic moment right there. You see Brian Fox charging out, also Jake Woolwork. Such a cool moment right on that course, designed specifically by Hurricane Parks just for this event. And that is a very special moment for the 2018 UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Championships. As we get ready for our podium, you can see out here a little taste of Chengdu, China, as we have our ceremony getting ready to be underway.
Yeah, the culture here is just amazing. I love being here in China and experiencing everything that they have to offer. It really is a beautiful place, and the people here are just so nice, Darryl.
Yeah, it's really great to come and have an event where we're welcomed with open arms, especially a place that's so rich in history out here, and the fact that it's an emerging market as far as BMX or any of our cycling sports go. What I mean by that is a lot of the people that live here have not been exposed to these sports, maybe like you would have back in the States or in Europe or a different part of the world, even Australia. So it's exciting. There's a genuine excitement. I mean, not only are they getting a chance to see top world riding where anyone would be jaw on the ground, including you and I, who have been riding our entire lives, but the fact that everybody here is just so thrilled that we're here. There's just this, there's almost like a mystique around it with the locals and the connection. There's also the language. They're feeling our culture out of BMX freestyle and vice versa. We have a chance to experience their culture from the food, which is unbelievable, whether you're going to a nice restaurant for fine dining or you're grabbing something off the street from one of the vendors and street carts. It's just a very cool experience.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And so a huge shout out goes out to the government of China and the federation here, UCI Cycling of China. They've done a great job. They've put on an amazing event. And as we watch the ceremony here, which is just, it's awesome.
Yeah, if you're looking for a place to wind up traveling to and you want to put on a destination map, Chengdu in China definitely should be that. Just so much rich in history and culture. This is so cool and special as we've got a demonstration going on with some martial arts out here and just showing the style of our very talented, skilled performers.
Yeah, I definitely can't do that myself, Darryl. My skill levels don't allow me to do things like this.
That's quite all right. You can do a no-handed 900, so I'm going to let that one slide if you're not able to sword fight out there. I mean, I think the no-handed 900, not many riders have ever done in the world. I actually think you might be one of two, if I'm not mistaken, the other being Matt Hoffman.
Jamie Bessick does those as well. He's got a huge repertoire of tricks that no one knows about. But yeah, it was fun. It was always good times competing and doing moves like that. And the great world of BMX allowed me to travel the world and enjoy amazing moments like this opening ceremony for the podium.
Yeah, this is a very special thing. I mean, the fact that we're not only presenting our top 3 finishers, but also, again, it's that rainbow jersey. Started way back in 1927 was the first time that the jersey was given out in all the other cycling sports. Now, if this is the first time that maybe you're hearing of the rainbow jersey, in any other discipline, it is so important to wind up having. But let's take a quick look at the summary of our BMX women before we wind up with our ceremony.
Yeah, we have Hannah Roberts right here with an absolute dominance of that flare right there. We have Angie doing a toboggan over the box jump. Toboggan over the other box, and she really did just do an amazing job of linking everything together. The X up over the hip right here.
taking a look at Paris Benengues. That was our top finisher. Rode so powerful with big transfer lines like no one else wound up having out there. And that is what helped catapult her way to the top, that big transfer quarter-to-quarter pipe. I loved this wall ride transfer. The fact that she was able to set up for it with that transfer we saw prior showed that she had the speed, and then the fact that she had the style and control, not even looking winded at all to get that 360 over the box jump. You see how excited Paris is, especially when her top score came in. There is Jamie Staff, USA BMX, giving her a big hug, along with her roommate and riding partner in crime, Angie Marino.
Yeah, and it's important to mention that Ryan Nyquist has been helping those girls, and I think it's really starting to show. You know, moments like that, the hard work pays off. The girls have put in the work. Ryan's given them helpful little hints, and it's come through and shined.
Well, there is a clean sweep for USA, 1, 2, and 3. USA all the way. Hannah Roberts was our defending champion from 2017. She was not able to put it away and get that top spot. Much respect to her, though, riding while injured. Angie Marino came in second, and we just witnessed Paris Benengues in there in top honors as we're here at the 2018 Urban Cycling World Championships, getting ready to pass out that rainbow jersey.
Yeah, the men's award ceremony right now is about to go down as we bring out the medals, and they're going to hand out the amazing and the elusive yellow jersey from the UCI.
So right here, the 3 top female riders. You see Hannah Roberts on the right of your screen, Angie Marino on the left, and right in center, standing in front of that #1, very proudly, Team USA's Paris Benengues. Talk about a sweep. He's talked about Ryan Nyquist being the coach for the women's riders. I know that he is very proud of all of our female athletes coming in top. Hopefully Ryan gets a well-deserved bonus out here for all of his female riders coming out. There is Jamie Staff, head of the USA BMX programs, worked for years with the racing side of things, and now over on BMX Freestyle. We are getting ready to pass out. And we said the rainbow jersey again. A lot of people might be saying, what is that? But if you are anything with 2 wheels in cycling since 1927, you know that that is the most coveted award in all of 2-wheeled cycling sports. If you basically win any UCI event, earlier today we actually saw the trials, and we also saw our cross-country eliminator, that you will get that UCI rainbow jersey. It shows that you are the world champion and that you have the honors to represent and wear that jersey throughout the course of the year, identifying you not only to other riders in the field and in the sport, but also to the fans. You will be defending it, and hopefully you have the opportunity to wind up re-winning it again the next year. But Hannah Roberts won it in 2017. She was not able to do so this year. Very cool, though, to see her being awarded right there on the podium for 3rd. As you mentioned, Steve, she had a very big injury to her leg. We almost didn't think she was going to be able to compete. She had an injury last week, and then on top of it, crashed in qualifying. So much respect to her, showing out a very good showing. Right now, we're moving along with our ceremony. USA's Angie Marino right there, getting that medal put around her neck, stepping up onto the #2 spot of the podium. Angie riding with very powerful lines, also throwing some big height on the quarter pipe as well for impressive riding. But it all came down, and you see Brian Fox, Team USA, cheering on the #1 rider who blasted big lines like no other female rider, had the height to match, and also the big 360 trick at the end of her run. This is Paris Benengues putting on the beautiful, coveted rainbow jersey, and your 2018 UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Champion for Elite Women, Paris Benengues.
Yeah, what a phenomenal job she did here this weekend, and she's going to be so proud standing up there for Team USA in that
We could hear
jersey.
Everybody from USA right now cheering, chanting, going crazy back home as we have that podium sweep right there for the United States.
Yeah, isn't that's something for the ages, right? To sweep the podium. It's something you won't see very often from a single country.
And you see right next to Jamie Staff, Nina Buitrago, a pioneer of women's BMX freestyle. She was competing in the competition She did not make podium, but she always wins first place in the heart of female riders around the world, as she was definitely influencing all riders who are female to start riding and also getting behind backing, pushing BMX freestyle women's competitions. So there you see it, holding up the Pandas, because this is home in Chengdu of the Panda, and now of your 2018 champions.
Yeah, what a proud moment for all three of these girls right now.
We're seeing them just take a moment as they nod right here to the national anthem. We're going to lay out as the anthem winds up playing.
Let's give them one more big round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen.
And there you have it. What a special moment. You see the UCI rainbow jersey and our top three finishers. Coming in third place, Hannah Roberts. Second place, Angie Marino. And your 2018 UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Champion for elite women, none other than United States' Paris Benengues. What a special moment, Steve McCann. A sweep for Team USA. Talk about starting things off on the right foot as our Olympic qualifying process has begun. BMX Freestyle will be in the Olympics 2020, and these were very important points for our women to take. So look on your screen right there. Top three, bronze, silver, and gold. USA all the way. Roberts, Marino, and Benengues. What a special moment.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how big that is going into 2020. That's a huge amount of points, and it allows them to keep building all the way up until the 2020 Olympics.
Yes, and if you want to see what the current standings on, how things are going to sit, and what the points break down, you can log on to UCI.org, where all of the information is up there. It is a few clicks away. You can also check out our events catalog, our events calendar, to see where the events will be coming by you. Well, this wasn't just the female. We had the men's competition go down. Let's rewind a little bit and take a look at a few of the highlights to see which men are going to be on top.
Yeah, you watched here Brandon Lupos doing the backflip double tail up into the cash roll, the triple tail whip across the gap. Ken Atencio, that 360 backflip on the spine. The downside double tail whip onto the wall. Just absolutely flawless all weekend, these guys were. 360 double tail whip across the transfer from the hitching post to the box. A backflip double tail whip on the spine. Massive tricks. The backflip double bar spin right there. And the truck to tail whip to bar spin. That was another highlight of his run, wasn't it? Look back on the quarter, another look back on the other hip.
And Justin Dowell with his signature move right there. He did not invent it, but he definitely perfected it. That is the Twix. That is the tail whip with the bar spin going around. Here is a look at that, looking back after the tail whip in the 360. Dowell snapping into that 360 look back right there. So there you have the highlights from our top three finishers as we get ready to award our three medals. And also there it is, the UCI rainbow jersey. All cyclists have dreamed of this jersey, being able to have the opportunity to put it on their shoulders. Last year it was Logan Martin. Unfortunately, he is not here. Logan, I know that you are watching at home. We are sending get well to you, and we look forward to you defending back in 2019. But right now it is all about these top three riders as you see getting ready to receive their awards. Australia, Costa Rica, and the United States, 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah, what a proud moment for all these guys. You got Brandon Lupos there from Australia, Kenneth Tencio
from Costa Rica,
and Justin Dow from Team USA.
Justin Dow, one of our younger riders here in the competition as well. What a cool moment to wind up putting this on your riding resume and making a statement, because we talk about the road to the Olympics and how important the points are. These Urban Cycling World Championships this year and also next year are such big deciding factors. We only have 9 spots which are going to be available to the Olympics. But right here, Brandon Lupos doing it for Australia, getting the bronze medal placed upon his neck.
Yeah, I think Brandon felt so good this whole weekend, and I think he's going to be really stoked with this result. Probably wanted a little bit more, but you know, you just have to see how the cookies crumble over the weekend, right? And unfortunately for him, he'll have to go back to the drawing board and work out how to stand on the top spot of the podium. So we're here, Kenneth Tencio collecting his second place medal. And you know, just by the smile on his face, that he is so excited.
Which he should be. And you saw that he had on his back of his jersey, Costa Rica, loud and proud. But right here, you are seeing Team USA. That is Brian Fox cheering on Justin Dowell, as he was the only rider in the 90s with the highest score of the day. And he is about to be awarded that rainbow jersey. Look at this moment, getting a chance to put the jersey on for the first time. This is the biggest honor that any cyclist or rider could have, and the fact that we are doing this here in Chengdu for one of the youngest riders of the competition, hailing from Virginia Beach, getting the top honors.
Yeah, just a huge moment, and such pride goes into moments like this, and you know, a lot of hard work as well. You spend so many hours perfecting your skills on your bike to come to contests like this.
Yeah, you got to put the work in, you do the homework at home, and then hopefully everything winds up working out when you're there. So getting the awards, top honors, there you have them, 3, 2, and 1. Again, Australia, Croatia, and the United States. Top honors not only in female, but also in male. You see the pandas going out. That's because Chengdu is home to all of the pandas, one of the only places in the world that has a panda sanctuary. So that is another reason to book your trip out here to check out the beautiful city of Chengdu, China, where you could take in some of the culture and also a little bit of those furry creatures, the pandas.
Yeah, I believe they have a baby panda in the zoo at the moment, and it's very cool to go and see him, or her. I don't know if it's a him or a her, but it cruises around the zoo and entertains everyone that goes to see it.
Well, there we have it, your 2018 UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Champion, Justin Dowell. We're going to bow out as we do the anthem.
Let's give a big round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. 再一次把热烈掌声献给训练冠军。
And there you have it, the top 3 finishers. History has been made at the 2018 Urban Cycling World Championships. taking top honors at the UCI BMX Freestyle Park World Championship is none other than Justin Dowell. Taking a look here, Australian's Brandon Lupos coming in third. Costa Rica's Kenneth Tencio in second, and that rainbow jersey draped upon the shoulders of the United States rider Justin Dowell. History being absolutely made here. What an amazing moment. What a great contest. Steve, you have any closing thoughts?
I think what more can I possibly say? This event was history in the making. The girls were pushing the new levels of BMX. The guys definitely pushed progression. The links they put together were just absolutely astonishing to watch, and I'm excited. The future of BMX, Daryl, is super bright.
That is what I like to hear. I got to tell you, it's been such an honor being in the booth with you, Steve. You're an absolute BMX legend, not only a competitor, but also still riding yourself, so it's been great to call the action with you up here. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us around the world. If you want to find more information, you could log on to uci.org to find out. On behalf of Steve McCann, Dylan Victor, my name is Daryl Now, and until we ride again, we'll see you next time.